Dr. Ambedkar International Center, United States, for letting me host today's talk. Today, we have with us a very distinguished speaker who is also an amazing thinker of our time. He has this unique ability to make sense of currents in history and to weave them into a sensible narrative. Frankly speaking, he hardly requires any introduction because we have all come to know and have read some part of his contribution with or without due credit to him. But for those who are hearing about him for the first time, let me give you a very brief idea. Our speaker for tonight is a dentist and an independent researcher, not only on our anti-caste leaders, but all the great thinkers who were their contemporaries. For the last 7 years, he has been writing articles exploring the fascinating lives of Babasaheb, Phule Kapil, Sayajirao Gaikwad, and many other anti-caste leaders. So far, he has authored about 14 articles contributing to Roundtable India, Forward Press, Ambedkarian Chronicle, Mahanavika, and an amazingly well-researched article that was featured on the popular YouTuber Anurag-Verma's blog, The Culture Cafe. His past talks have garnered over 23,000 views on YouTube and has helped countless people approach and understand the ideas in Babasaheb's work without feeling intimidated. Some of his best works are recreating the lost library of Mahatma Jyotirao Phule and Babasaheb's interactions with the Indian scientists of his era. Recently, he has written an article on Einstein's reactions upon the abolition of untouchability and also the collection of his books in Babasaheb's personal library. In short, he is a very passionate and distinguished researcher and speaker. Today, we are going to hear from him about a very interesting topic: the cinematic tastes of Babasaheb, movies, music, art, and the life of Babasaheb. As you all might have come across a very popular quote of Babasaheb, that the cultivation of mind must be the ultimate aim of human existence. So keep that in mind because it will help you understand today's topic. This cultivation of mind can happen in various forms, and developing artistic tastes is a very dominating part of it, more so in today's life. And our researcher today is the only person who has curated and researched on this very topic of tracing the artistic experiences of Babasaheb, the films, plays he watched, the music he listened to, the arts he cultivated, and how it helped him personally. So, without further ado, please welcome our speaker for tonight, Dr. Sairam, and feel free to send out reactions and comments and questions throughout the talk in the little chat box. And we promise to pick them up after the talk in our Q&A session at the end. Also, if for some reason you find yourself out of the meeting room and you're unable to join because we are full, please feel free to join us through our YouTube link, and the necessary links will be provided in the comment box. Thank you. Sairam bhai, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nikhil bhai, for that wonderful introduction. I must say that I'm quite flattered with that introduction. Thank you so much. At the very outset, I'd like to thank Dr. Ambedkar International Center, USA, BAWS.in team, Prashant Nema sir, Charan sir, Anil Wagde sir, and others for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with the readers of BAWS.in once again. And today we'll be talking about a very interesting topic. And the title of the session is Movies, Music, and Art in the Life of Babasaheb Ambedkar. Presented by me, Dr. Sairam, and the organizers are Dr. Ambedkar International Center, USA, and BAWS.in. Now, this is going to be my third session for BAWS.in. Previously, I gave 2 sessions, and the first session dealt with a brief overview of the books written by Dr. Ambedkar with explanatory diagrams, and it was mostly an analytical video. And the second session is about the forgotten links or association between Mahatma Jyotirao Phule, Sayajirao Gaikwad, and Dr. Ambedkar. Like most of us know, or we have heard about the connections between Maharaja Sayajirao Gaikwad and Dr. Ambedkar, but very few people are aware of the links between Jyotirao Phule and Sayajirao Gaikwad. हमने उस talk में ये सारे links को cover किया था. So now this is my third talk for BAWS, and I'm very happy to be back. So let us start. Let us start with the backdrop. What films did Dr. Ambedkar watch? And who are the artists from music and theatre he crossed paths with? The answers may never be fully known, but some traces definitely remain. In this session, I attempt to follow those traces, dividing his life into three phases to explore the films he saw and the cultural figures he engaged with. So three phases में हम बाबा साहेब का एक passion को explore करेंगे. Let us start with the first phase, that is from 1910 to 1930. To begin with, one of the earliest movies that Dr. Ambedkar watched was Uncle Tom's Cabin, released in 1927. Interestingly, he went to this movie along with his wife, Ramai. So Ramai and Dr. Ambedkar ने एक ही मूवी देखा था, जहाँ तक हमारे पास information है, वो Uncle Tom's Cabin है. Now, Uncle Tom's Cabin is adapted from a popular novel written by white American author Harriet Beecher Stowe in 1852. And it is considered to be one of the important books that inspired Americans to fight against slavery. We don't know, unfortunately, what the reactions of Dr. Ambedkar and Ramai were upon seeing this movie. But we do have a review of this book from Baba Saheb's guru, Mahatma Phule. So let us look at it. Observe the following conversation between Jyotiba and Yashwant, as reported in Sastar. So Yashwant begins by asking this question to Jyotiba. वो बोलते हैं, many people do say that women have all the vices like brazenness. If you tell us what you think about it, it will open people's eyes. So Yashwant, जो adopted son है Jyotiba and Savitri Mai का, वो पूछ रहा है कि ऐसा बहुत लोग बोलते हैं कि वुमेन के बारे में बहुत नेगेटिव क्वालिटीज है उनमें, इसके ऊपर आपका विचार क्या है? Then Jyotiba says, child, if you think about it fully, you will see that it is men who are more partial, deceptive, thuggish, cruel, and prone to commit more and more new kinds of horrible acts than women. But since you ask, I shall explain it a little. Then Jyotiba begins to explain. When I think about how men in Europe and America who carry the banner of their religion, like Brahmins, steal the sons and daughters of the poor, ignorant, and vulnerable people of Africa and drag them away to foreign lands and sell them like animals to be enslaved, I realize the depth of cruelty of men. It makes me shiver. So Jyotiba is here talking about the transatlantic slave trade, where so-called missionary people जो यहाँ की Brahmins जैसे बोलते हैं हम बहुत religious है, devout लोग हैं, ये सब देख के the manner in which they have carried the children, men and women of African continent into the America, and how these people have been mistreated by these so-called devout Christians or missionary people. ये सब देख के मुझे लग रहा है कि इतना cruel है men. It makes me feel shiver. Then Jyotiba says, one American woman, hoping to expose this cruelty, wrote a book called Uncle Tom's Cabin. Anyone who reads it, even a stubborn, cold-hearted, arrogant, and even the one who resents all women, will break down in public shame, covering his head like a Marwadi woman pulling the pallu of a sari. He'll be forced to sigh and sob. So Jyotiba is saying that anyone who reads this book, even the man who says कि सारी women ऐसा है वैसा है नेगेटिव बात है, वो भी ये book पढ़ने के बाद रोने लग जाता है. So this is the significance of this book according to Jyotiba. So Jyotiba continues and asks, so tell me, who is more evil, men or women? So Jyotiba ने इस question का answer already दे दिया है. So here is an example of the transatlantic influence of Uncle Tom's Cabin, the late 19th century Pune. Now, if you want to explore and read more about what Dr. Ambedkar wrote about this transatlantic slave trade and how the European missionaries have exploited, killed, and or massacred the indigenous people of South America, please refer to this book called Essays on Untouchables and Untouchability. And I hope my friend Ritesh would have already shared this link.
Dr. Sairam,
Now,
your camera is off.
Oh, I'm sorry. A second. I hope it's okay now.
Yes.
Okay. So on 15 June 1913, Dr. Ambedkar traveled from Bombay to Naples on a ship called as SS Sadigna. So this is the map of how he traveled from India to USA. So first he boarded from Bombay, then he reached to Gulf of Aden, and then to Red Sea. There is something called as Port Set. And yahan se he went to Italy, to a place called as Naples. Then in Naples, he boarded SS Ancona, which is another ship, and arrived in the New York City on 22nd July 1930. Now, this is the ship in which Dr. Ambedkar traveled from Bombay to Naples. And this is the passenger list of all those who have traveled in that ship. And my friend Nikhil Bagde ने ये सारे continental records जो भी बाबा साहब को travel records है वो सारे collect करके एक article में introduce किया था. So I have taken these clippings from his article. And anyone who is interested to explore all those travel records of Dr. Ambedkar, trust me, किसी biography में, किसी और article में आपको ये सारे pictures देखने को नहीं मिलता है. Please read this article and you will find all these images of Dr. Ambedkar's air tickets, ship tickets, passenger lists, and so on. So thank you, Nikhil Bhai. In fact, Nikhil Bhai ने ही मुझे introduce किया था, so I'm very happy that he introduced me. So by the time Dr. Ambedkar, landed in New York City, it was already a very developed city. You can see this famous Brooklyn Bridge, and you can see these tall buildings in New York City. Mumbai mein hai tall buildings already by the time, but New York City jaisa nahi hai, right? And in fact, look at this picture. This is the picture of Grand Terminal of New York City. In fact, it was opened just 3-4 months before the arrival of Dr. Ambedkar in the New York City. So काफी developed है. And that is why, interestingly, film industry bhi New York City mein hi develop hua hai. And to quote the words of Professor Steve Neal, the corporate headquarters of the studios were not in Hollywood or in Southern California, but in the New York City. It was here that the finance was raised from banks and investors, that decisions about the cost, scale, and nature of each season's programs or films were taken, and that the booking and circulation of film prints were organized. In short, New York City was the epicenter of filmmaking. And when Dr. Ambedkar was studying in New York City, both movies released hua hai. To take only 3 top examples, there's a movie called as Trafficking Souls, and then Do and Dynamite by Charlie Chaplin, and the very infamous and controversial The Birth of a Nation, which is famous for its racist depiction of the African Americans. Although we are unsure whether Dr. Ambedkar watched any of these movies, we have some evidences to show that he has watched a popular play written by Earl Derr called as Inside the Lines at a very majestic theatre called as Longacre Theatre in 1915. And interestingly, this play, which is called as Inside the Lines, is a spy-based thriller written in the context of World War I. Abhi shuru hua tha, so usi context mein likha tha. My friend Nikhil Bagde once again has shared this extremely rare information from the Brooklyn Daily Times with me, as you can see below. So this is the poster of that play, Inside the Lines, and this is a newspaper clipping from which this information is available. So the clipping reads, S. Paul Chenappa, PhD of the Indian Mysore Government Service, and an accomplished Hindu actor and member of the Hindu Shakespeare Company with Messrs. Ambedkar, Badankar, Pagar, and Hag, attended the performance of Inside the Lines at the Longacre Theatre in national costume last evening and saw the countryman Jaimir Khan portrayed by Macy Harlem. So this is the news clipping that tells us information about the play watched by Dr. Ambedkar, and it is called as the Inside the Lines. ये information बहुत rare है, किसी को भी पता भी नहीं है, लेकिन Nikhil Bhai has got this knack to find all these rare things. So I thank him once again for this extraordinary information. Now, these are the original pictures that were captured when the play was going on. So Baba Sahib ne yahi play dekha tha, so usi original pictures ko humne yahan include kiya tha. So this is the Indian character called Jaimir Khan, which was played by Macy Harlem, who went on to become a popular actor in the 1930s of Hollywood. Now, we don't know what Dr. Ambedkar thought after watching this play, but it can be asserted without any doubt that watching Inside the Lines at Longacre Theatre would have been extraordinary theatrical experience for him. How can I say that? Because when Longacre Theatre was opened, it was considered to be the last word in the making of modern theatre, owing to its splendid architectural design. So ऐसा कहा जाता था कि इससे बड़ा नहीं बन सकता है. So Longacre Theatre is the best in the world. So Dr. Ambedkar saw this play inside that extraordinary theatre. And as you can see, it has 2 huge balconies, a huge chandelier. And in fact, the corners of the theatre were etched with golden plates, and it has a seating capacity of, I think, 1,029 seats or something like that. So you can imagine it's a quite huge theater, and Dr. Ambedkar ने इस प्ले को देखा था इसी थिएटर में. इंटरेस्टिंगली लॉन्गेकर का जो चीफ आर्किटेक्ट है, जो डिजाइन किया था उस थिएटर का, उसका नाम है हेनरी हर्ट्स. He was an alumnus of Columbia University. So it is probable that he might have invited Dr. Ambedkar or his friends, to attend this play inside his theater. So let us come to phase 2, which is from 1931 to 1950. In the early 1930s, V. Shantaram, aptly dubbed Cinema Kesari, rose to redefine Indian film as a powerful fusion of visual poetry and social activism. Someone, can you please mute your audio? Yeah, thank you. So this is the picture of V. Shantaram, who is a very popular director of Marathi and also Indian film industry. His own complex origins, born to a Jain father and a Hindu Maratha mother with hints of Devadasi lineage, explains why his movies have been socially awakening. If you want to explore more about his personal background, you can refer to this book written by Meera Kosambiji called as Gender, Culture and Performance. So you can see that book. Now, interesting baat ye hai ki many people do not know that V. Shantaram shared a very cordial relationship with Dr. Ambedkar. In the words of my friend and guide, Vinay Shinde, who is also here in this talk, to quote his own words, V. Shantaram was an avid supporter of Buddhist celebrations in Mumbai, including 6th December for Chaitya Bhumi. The Plaza Cinema in Dadar, built by him, is modeled on Buddhism. So as you can see, this is how the Plaza Theatre used to look like. Abhi aisa wo nahi hai, but you can see the design is inspired from the Sanji Stupa. In one of our conversations, Sakya Nitin sir, whose father shared a very good relationship with Shantaram, told me in a personal interview that my father has good memories of V. Shantaram. My father and his friend would visit his studio and Shantaram would treat them very nicely. He used to donate money and give his film set material for Dr. Ambedkar Jayanti decoration. There was a very beautiful statue of Buddha inside his studio. So this is the association that Shantaram, the great director, shared with Dr. Ambedkar. Now, interestingly, Shantaram ji ka jo beti hai, Rajashri, she's a very famous actress in the 60s and 70s, known for her films like Brahmachari and Around the World, was a student at Dr. Ambedkar Siddharth College. And actor Jitendra is also, has also studied in the very same college. And I thank my friend Prashant Nimabai for sharing this wonderful information. In fact, it was V. Shantaram who gave a break to both Jitendra and Rajashri ji. Now, a careful examination of his writings and letters shows that Dr. Ambedkar watched at least 2 films of V. Shantaram, namely Dharmatma and Kunku. Speaking about the film Dharmatma, Dr. Ambedkar noted, so this is a snapshot from our BAWS website. So, इसी से मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ अभी. So you can find the difference of Dharmatma in Annihilation of Caste. So Dr. Ambedkar says, and even the Saint Eknath, who now figures in the film Dharmatma as a hero for having shown courage to touch the untouchables and dine with them, did so not because he was opposed to caste and untouchability, but because he felt that the pollution caused thereby could be washed away by a bath in the sacred waters of the river Ganga. So Eknath को कैसे प्रोजेक्ट करते हैं, वो इतना महान आदमी है, उन्होंने अनटचेबल को टच किया था, लेकिन डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने इसको रियल मोटिव को एक्सपोज किया था. He touched the untouchable to show that by touch कर सकते हो, लेकिन उसके बाद आप उस pollution को भी क्यूर कर सकते हो by cleaning yourselves in the water of Ganga. So वो सच में पॉजिटिव है अनटचेबल्स के लिए या उसका डबल डीलिंग है, आप सोच सकते हो. Shockingly, some of the members of the censor board forced the director Shantaram to cut a scene from the film which depicts an untouchable girl entering a Brahmin's home. So there's a scene in the movie which was cut. So where this untouchable girl called as Jai enters the home of Saint Eknath. So censor board लोगों को लगा कि अरे यार, how is it possible that an untouchable girl can enter the home of Brahmin Saint Eknath? So it created a huge controversy, and ultimately that scene was cut from the movie. And I think आज भी वही चल रहा है, if I'm not wrong, like ज्योतिबा फुले के ऊपर एक मूवी आया था, उसमें भी scenes को inbound भेज गया. Why you are? I think someone is making the sound. Please mute yourself. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but yeah. So since that board पहले से ही से, and imagine 1935 में it was a huge controversy, and I need to hardly say that आज भी situation वही है. Now हमने देखा है कि डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने धर्मात्मा देखा है शांताराम जी का. So the second movie that he saw was Kunku. So the information regarding Kunku, released in Hindi as Duniya Na Mane, is available from the letter that Dr. Ambedkar had written to Dr. Savita Ambedkar. So Dr. Ambedkar ने ये लिखा है एक letter में, if words have any meaning and marriage has any foundation, what am I to understand when you said in your letter in which you said, I accept you? You accept me as what? As a great man? As a learned man? Or as a good-looking man? What is your spring of action? So एक लेटर में सविता अम्बेडकर जी ने लिखा है कि I accept you. So डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने पूछा कि I accept you as what? So उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने कुनकू के बारे में बात किया था. So हम देखेंगे. So Dr. Ambedkar continues in that letter, and he said, as a poet has said, love built on beauty dies as soon as beauty dies. The same is true of love built on greatness or learning. These things, after some time, begin to fail. They cannot be the foundation of marriage. I think this is a very important message for all the youth and youngsters. And now comes the important point. Dr. Ambedkar says, marriage can be founded only on love, which can be described in no other terms except the longing to belong. So here is the definition of what love means, according to Dr. Ambedkar. Given its significance and given the nature of audience that we have, I wanted to read the translation of it in Marathi and Hindi also. So in Marathi, longing to belong is roughly translated as एक मेकांचे होण्याची तीव्र इच्छा. हिंदी में एक दूसरे का होने की तीव्र अभिलाषा. In Telugu, ఒకరితో ఒకరు ఉండాలి అని గాఢంగా కోరడం. So I thank my friend Milind Patil. I hope he's here for translating this phrase into both Marathi and Hindi. Now then Dr. Ambedkar continues. Are you actuated by this feeling of longing to belong? अब बोल रहे हो I accept you. What matters to me is, are you actuated by this feeling of longing to belong? Nothing else will either do or suffice. Then he says, I don't know if you have seen the film Kunku or read the novel called Women Thou Gavest Me by Holkane. So this is the poster of the movie Kunku, acted by the terrific Shanta Apte. And then Dr. Ambedkar says, the marriage in both the cases, in Kunku and also in this novel, was a matter of form. How very unhappy and tragic they were. The reason why they were so tragic was because there was no longing to belong. So इस एक ही लाइन से डॉक्टर अंबेडकर ने कुनकू मूवी का और वुमेन तो गेवेस्ट मी का समरी या रिव्यू दे दिया है. So it is very rare to see डॉक्टर अंबेडकर reviewing the movies, and दोनों केसेस का डायरेक्टर शांताराम ही है. So these are some more pictures from the movie Kunku. Another interesting link between Dr. Ambedkar and Shantaram is a great Sangeet Kalanidhi, Master Krishnarao Fulambrika. Now, let me tell you the interesting story as to how I found this thing. So one day I was reading a speech from our BAWS website. So, जैसा आपको पता है, हर speech का एक beginning होता है where they will give you the context. So this speech begins by saying Dr. Ambedkar ने यहाँ पहुंचा था and उन्होंने एक portrait को unveil किया था. So details होते हैं, right? So I was just not randomly, seriously only, reading this particular speech. And as I was reading and as I reached this last line, I was really surprised and also excited to find about this person. So it says Sangeet Kalanidhi, Master Krishna Fulambrika. So suddenly मुझे लगा Sangeet Kalanidhi Master Krishna कौन है? I'm sorry, I did not know at that time. So then मैंने थोड़ा और research किया था. And then I found that Sangeet Kalanidhi, Master Krishna Rao and Dr. Ambedkar were very good friends. So what I'm trying to say is that आपको BAWS या बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर का writings पढ़ने से knowledge मिलता है, enlightenment मिलता है. That is true. At the same time, you can also recreate very interesting details of his own biographical life. His biography में mentioned है कि Master Krishna Rao और Dr. Ambedkar के बीच में एक रिश्ता है. नहीं mentioned है, लेकिन आपको BAWS में मिलता है. इसलिए BAWS पढ़ना बहुत जरूरी है. Now, Master Krishna was a very popular classical ringer who is credited with having created numerous complex ragas, composite ragas, and many bandishes. So he's not just an expert in Hindustani classical music. उन्होंने कुछ नया ragas को create किया है. So that is the significance of Sangeet Kalanidhi. And Master Krishna was deeply influenced by the movement of Dr. Ambedkar and performed many opening songs on multiple occasions. I've just shown you only one reference. Now, interestingly, Master Krishna Rao has made his debut in the film industry with Shantaram's Dharmatma, जो अभी हमने देखा था. And one more interesting point is, it was Shahu Maharaj who encouraged the talent of young Bal Gandharva and helped him with the treatment of his ear infection under the renowned doctor. So I just wanted to say something. So इसी धर्मात्मा मूवी में अभी हमने देखा है, म्यूजिक कृष्णा राव जी ने दिया था, एकनाथ का कैरेक्टर प्ले किया था बाल गंधर्वा. Now, interesting story of Bal Gandharva is, one day Bal Gandharva and his team were performing in front of Shahu Maharaj. So Shahu Maharaj को बहुत पसंद आया था बाल गंधर्वा का परफॉर्मेंस. So उसको बुला के he was giving the तारीफ किया था कि बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म किया है. शाहू महाराज एक तरह तारीफ कर रहा है, लेकिन बाल गंधर्वा की तरह से कोई रिएक्शन नहीं है. सो देन शाहू महाराज को डाउट आ गया कि मैं तारीफ कर रहा हूँ, ये तो रिएक्शन ही नहीं दे रहा. देन समवन फ्रॉम हिज टीम, बाल गंधर्वा का टीम, टोल्ड शाहू महाराज की उनका एक ईयर इन्फेक्शन है, इसका वजह से वो हियरिंग का कुछ प्रॉब्लम है. देन इमीडिएटली शाहू महाराज ने बोला कि बाल गंधर्वा, यू नीड टू विजिट दिस हॉस्पिटल, वहाँ मेरा फ्रेंड है. एंड देन बाल गंधर्वा विजिटेड दिस हॉस्पिटल कॉल्ड एज वैनलेस मिशन हॉस्पिटल. एंड वहाँ शाहू महाराज का एक फ्रेंड है डॉक्टर चार्ल्स एडवर्ड, उन्होंने इसको ट्रीट किया था. उसके बाद वो इट गॉट ट्रीटेड एंड ही स्टार्टेड हियरिंग वेरी वेल. सो हियर इज द इंटरेस्टिंग कनेक्शन बिटवीन शाहू महाराज एंड बाल गंधर्वा. हम ये नहीं सोचते कि ऑल दीज पीपल आर कनेक्टेड इन वन अनदर. सो शाहू महाराज और बाल गंधर्वा का कनेक्शन है. उसी बाल गंधर्वा ने शांताराम का मूवी में एक्ट किया था, और शांताराम बाबा से फ्रेंड्स है. And even the music director Krishna Rao was also a friend of Dr. Ambedkar. So all these things are connected, and it's very interesting to think about all these things. Now here is the rarest image of Dr. Ambedkar with Master Krishna Rao, and I'll tell you something that is going to make you many people very happy. So now, in a profound act of artistic devotion, Master Krishna Rao accepted the request of Dr. Ambedkar and composed the Buddha Vandana without taking any remuneration, in the spirit of serving the Lord Buddha. So Dr. Ambedkar ने एक बार Master Krishna को मिला था, because Master Krishna Rao was the one who sang Vande Mataram in the Constituent Assembly. So then Dr. Ambedkar ने उसके पास जाके बोला है कि I'm thinking to have this composition of Buddha Vandana. So will you sing it? So Master Krishna Rao accepted the request, and he composed Buddha Vandana. Here is the most exciting part. Master Krishna Rao learned Pali, studied the chants at Mumbai Siddharth College, and sang lead with the chorus's grace. Dr. Ambedkar hailed this work of Master Krishna Rao, felicitated him, and brought out a 78 RPM record of Buddha Vandana in 56. Now, this is the same record that was played during the epic mass conversion ceremony held at Nagpur on 14th October 1956. So this is the connection between Dr. Ambedkar, Master Krishna Rao, and the composition of Buddha Vandana. So far we have seen the association of Baba Sahib with the musical genius. Now, what is the association of Dr. Ambedkar with the music itself? So अभी हम थोड़ा slightly different phase में जाते हैं, फिर से return करते हैं movies को. So now let us explore the art and art forms in the life of Dr. Ambedkar. So let us begin with the music part. So this is the picture of the violin of Dr. Ambedkar's original violin है. वो आज भी पुणे का Symbiosis Institute में है. So I clicked this picture, I think in 2023. I went there along with my friend Vinay Shinde and Prashik. So there is something interesting, information. So I wanted to share with you. So this is what it says. This is almost an uncommon facet of his personality. He purchased this violin in Delhi and learned it to play from the Satya brothers in Bombay. There's an amusing memory attached to the Satya brothers, who are experts at producing a variety of sounds from the violin. Dr. Ambedkar asked them to imitate animal sounds on the violin and went into peals of laughter when they did so. He also took violin lesson from one Mr. Meguji in Delhi, but the learning session invariably ended in discussion on politics. So this brief note talks about the teachers of Dr. Ambedkar who taught him violin. And also a very interesting anecdote. as to how Dr. Ambedkar had this fun, with Satya Brothers. So उन्होंने पूछा है कि आप लोग तो experts है different music बनाना violin में. So why don't you play these different animal sounds on the violin? So when they played, Dr. Ambedkar enjoyed it thoroughly and burst into laughter. Now this is the original picture of Satya Brothers. I wanted to include the video, but quality उतना अच्छा नहीं, so I only tell the anecdote. So ये लोग एक interesting story बताते हैं. So one day Dr. Ambedkar called them to his home and उनसे पूछा है कि मुझे एक standard volume दीजिए violin का playing के ऊपर. So they gave him a fat volume on the how to play violin and all. So Dr. Ambedkar ने उस fat volume को रात में ही खत्म किया. He read that book throughout the night. The very next day he called them again और पूछा है कि इसका updated book मुझे दीजिए. And Satya Brothers got shocked. They were like, आपने इस book को already पढ़ लिया? Baba Sahib said कि हाँ मैंने रात में ही पढ़ लिया. And they were still in shock. They were not able to believe it because that book is not some history of violin or popular violin artists कौन है, Beethoven, Mozart, वो नहीं है. It's a practical manual of how to play violin. It's a very technical book. So उसको ही Dr. Ambedkar ने finish किया था. And they said कि इसका updated version कोई नहीं है. This is the only version that we have been using for many decades. So this tells a lot about the extraordinary mind of Dr. Ambedkar. उसका कितना wide range of interest है. एक तरफ politics में, economics में, law में. I wonder कि क्या subject को Dr. Ambedkar ने छोड़ा है. It's like everything. He is a master of everything that he has touched. So this is one more great facet of Dr. Ambedkar's personal life. So this is the violin notes of Dr. Ambedkar. So this is how he has to, he used to make notes of violin and playing of it. So maybe I'll just read 1-2 lines and then we will see. So it says, lesson number 1, bow on each string in 4 beats. Second point, the movement of a bow is not complete until it has completed 2 movements, down and up. The proper movement of the bow is to begin from up, and from down, up. So this is his notes of violin making. And Dr. Savita Ambedkar ने एक book लिखा था उसके Dr. Ambedkar के ऊपर. So it recently got translated into English. So when I read this book, I found something very interesting. हमने सुना होगा, like at least I'm from non-Maharashtra, I'm from Telangana. So मुझे पता नहीं है Dr. Ambedkar की इतना wide range of interest है. जब्बार पटेल के मूवी देख के मुझे लगा कि उसको वायलिन आता है, बस मुझे ये पता नहीं. But he was also an expert painter and also he was also master in sculpting. So this is what Dr. Savita Ambedkar says in that book. Baba Sahib would take lessons from Madil Gekar on drawing and sculpture. Under the guidance of Madil Gekar, Sahib also sculpted a statue of the Buddha. The joy, remember this word joy, wo hum baar baar dekhenge. The joy he derived from sculpting that statue of Buddha is beyond description because it had been a long time desire of his to make a statue of the Buddha himself. He had keenly wanted to make statues of the Buddha with Indian features in the pose of delivering his sermon. There's also a number of other statues with his eyes shown open. He wanted to send these statues to different parts of India and abroad. Likewise, it was his hope to install some on the campus of the college at Aurangabad. So this information tells us about Dr. Ambedkar's interest, his quest to design the sculptures of the Lord Buddha. So here is the interesting story of this teacher called Madil Gekar. So 1950s, moved by the work of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Madil Gekar sought an appointment with him in Delhi. So initially, Dr. Ambedkar met the sculptor, but refused a sitting. It was only after Madil Gekar showed his sculpture of the seated Buddha that Dr. Ambedkar agreed to pose for his bust. So initially, Madil Gekar ने Dr. Ambedkar को approach किया था और request किया कि you have to pose and I'll make a sculpture. Dr. Ambedkar ने मना किया. So someone must have told Madil Gekar कि Dr. Ambedkar is fascinated with Buddha. So maybe you can try this method to impress him. So Madil Gekar ने already एक statue बना था बुद्धा का. So उसको Dr. Ambedkar को दिखाया था, and Dr. Ambedkar was so impressed with that, and he agreed to pose for a sculpture. So these are the pictures. So this is the picture of seated Buddha made by Madil Gekar that impressed Dr. Ambedkar so much that he agreed to pose for a sculpture. So I've taken these pictures from Madil Gekar's art studio. वो छत्रपति संभाजी नगर में है आज भी. So people can visit that that center. मैंने वेबसाइट में देखा था उनका पिक्चर्स. They're very, very fine and extraordinary sculptures. I hope people from Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar visit that studio and check out their collection. Now, continuing from what Dr. Savita Ambedkar says, Sahib remained a student all his life. He was always ready to acquire knowledge of all kinds. He was forever curious to learn sketching, sculpting, tabla playing, ये नया है, playing the violin, music, cooking, driving, Pali, Sanskrit, and to learn different forms of art. So this is, as we know, one of the sketches made by Dr. Ambedkar. I know there are some people who contested, but based on my research, I think it is made by Dr. Ambedkar, क्योंकि उनके पास बहुत से rough copies है. So this might be the most advanced version of his sketch. And as it reads here, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar yani Rekat Lele Gautam Buddhanje Chitte. So this is a picture, a snapshot from Jabbar Patel's movie. Sorry, वो dark shade में ही उसको picture किया था, so मैंने include किया. I don't want to include AI pictures, so I've included that. So yesterday, 2 days ago, I spoke with a wonderful person called as Trishila ma'am, Trishila Vasant Gaikwad ma'am. She's a prominent author, translator, and a theater artist herself. So during our conversation, she told me that Dr. Ambedkar also knew how to play harmonium. And she told me that this is how music was, taught in many places, even today, I guess. Harmonium se begin karta and then they progress to other musical instruments. So with this information, we now know that apart from violin and tabla making, Dr. Ambedkar also knew harmonium. So this is, an extraordinary side of Dr. Ambedkar that we hardly get to, discuss and enjoy. So these are the paintings that Dr. Ambedkar bought when he went to Rangoon, and he gifted these paintings to his personal assistant Ratu. So Rangoon मतलब आपको ये गाना पता ही होगा, मेरा पिया गए रंगून क्या है वहाँ से टेलीफोन. So उस रंगून को गए थे बाबा साहब 54 में, and he attended the Buddhist conference, and he got an extraordinary reception, and he had the opportunity to talk with so many Buddhist delegates across the world. And so yeah, वहाँ इस पेंटिंग्स को उन्होंने खरीद लिया था and रत्तू जी को गिफ्ट किया. And it is said that Winston Churchill's का जो ये book है, Painting as a Pastime, has influenced Dr. Ambedkar a lot, in making the sketches and all. It is not that पहले से वो नहीं कर रहे थे, but ये book पढ़ने के बाद और interest आने लगा, और quest बढ़ाने लगा कि I want to make more sketches. So, because we know that Churchill is also famous for making all these paintings and sketches. Interestingly, in 1946, Dr. Ambedkar met Winston Churchill at his private home in Kent. So this is the picture of his home, Churchill ka in London. So this is the rarest of rare letters which Dr. Ambedkar wrote to Churchill. So in this letter is thanking Churchill, for extending the support to the cause of untouchables. And here in this letter, Dr. Ambedkar talks about his visit to his Kent home and how he got delighted. Maybe I'll just read it quite fastly. So, dear Mr. Churchill, I'm leaving for Bombay tomorrow morning. Before I do so, I want to convey to you my gratitude for the kindness and courtesy you have shown to me and the sympathy you have evinced for the cause of the untouchables. I have enjoyed my visit to your country home and was delighted. And so this is the letter of Dr. Ambedkar that he wrote to Churchill after meeting him at his home. And I also wanted to thank Jessica Saunders for allowing me to share this letter for the audience. So this is one more picture that I clicked when I went to Pune Symbiosis. So they told me that these are the porcelain cups of Dr. Ambedkar, which he got it from Burma. So it contains, as you can see, a Buddhist deity, Chinese Buddhist deity that is etched on the saucer, and he was sitting on a dragon. So there's so many pictures like this, and it throws a different light about Dr. Ambedkar's personal life. He's someone who appreciated beauty a lot. उसके घर में बहुत सारे paintings हैं. Unfortunately, now we don't have much information कि उस paintings को क्या हो गया, वो कहाँ है. But it has been recorded by Rattu and so many of his assistants that his house was full of paintings, sketches, ऐसे बहुत सारे artistic elements and everything. He was a man of great taste and appreciation for beauty. And this is what he wanted all of us to learn. We will see more about it in the coming slides. And why should we read literature? See, literature is also broad part of art. इसलिए मैंने include किया था. And the information that is contained in this letter is also very rare, so I have included it. हमको पता है कि डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर was a voracious reader. उन्होंने बहुत 50,000 के ऊपर उनके लाइब्रेरी में बुक्स है, उन्होंने पढ़ा है. So what was the objective of Dr. Ambedkar in reading all this vast literature? So एक reason है वो उन्होंने बताते हैं सविता अम्बेडकर जी को. So this is what he says. I am very fond of literature, particularly biography. Every man's and woman's life is short, and the channel in which it runs is always very narrow. Consequently, the experience of every individual is always very limited. A limited experience gives a narrow range of sympathies. Such a person with narrow sympathies is often a misfit in life. For in one's life, one is bound to meet persons who have led a different sort of life and have different experiences to recount. And unless one is aware of experiences undergone by other people, there is no ennoblement and enrichment in the values of life. So summary ये है कि हमारा life बहुत short है and the way in which goes is very narrow. As a result, हमारे जो experiences है वो बहुत कम है. Exposure भी बहुत कम है हमको. Particularly, we are now living in an age where we hardly read books. So always, as a result, experience is very limited. So बाबा साहब बोलते हैं कि ऐसे individuals जिनका exposure कम है, जिनको vast range of experiences नहीं होता है, is always a misfit in life. क्योंकि we meet different sets of people in our daily life, in our personal, public life, and social life. So if you want to have a meaningful relationship with other people, you need to be sympathetic. क्योंकि we don't know what experiences the other person has. So बाहर हंसते हैं बहुत लोग, लेकिन वो हंसते हुए चेहरे के पीछे कितना गहरा सा गम है वो हमको पता नहीं है. So Dr. Ambedkar says that by reading books, literature, particularly biographies, our experiences will automatically get expanded, our horizons get broadened. As a result, we become more sympathetic. When we meet people, as a result, we will be more sympathetic in dealing with them. We will be less cautious, we'll be less eager to judge them or to belittle them. Belittle नहीं करना है किसी को भी, strangers को. पता नहीं है क्या क्या हो रहा है इसकी जिंदगी में. So डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर का ये मानना है कि लिटरेचर पढ़ने से ये सब होता है. ह्यूमंस का एक्सपीरियंस बढ़ता है और सिंपैथीज भी बढ़ा जाता है. This is what we need in our life, in our current context, where there is nothing called as sympathy or empathy. Small fight, like small confrontation is enough in our daily lives to enlarge it into a bigger fight. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. This is what Dr. Ambedkar says. So the reading literature has this utility. So books पढ़ने में भी social utility देख रहे हैं बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर. Now, I want your maximum attention for the next 10 to 15 slides because I believe that this is the soul of the presentation. So I want everyone to please pay attention. So what explains this excitement and enthusiasm in Dr. Ambedkar to explore literature, music, movies, paintings, and different art forms? हम आइसोलेशन में देखते हैं इन जनरल, लाइक बाबा साहब ने ये मूवी देखा है, उसको पेंटिंग अच्छा है, वो पसंद करते थे एक्सेट्रा. बट इन सारे चीजों को एक कॉमन फ्रेमवर्क में देखने की बहुत जरूरत है. एंड दैट फ्रेमवर्क इज दिस. व्हाई इज ही सो एक्साइटेड एंड व्हाई वाज ही सो एंथुसियास्टिक टू एक्सप्लोर ऑल दीज आर्ट फॉर्म्स? एंड द आंसर लाइज इन हिज क्वेस्ट फॉर द कल्टिवेशन ऑफ द माइंड. हमने बहुत बार ये सुना होगा, डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर का एक कोट है, कल्टिवेशन ऑफ द माइंड इज द अल्टीमेट एम ऑफ ह्यूमन एक्सिस्टेंस. बट व्हाट डज कल्टिवेशन ऑफ माइंड एग्जैक्टली मीन, वो हम अभी एक्सप्लोर करेंगे. So in his book, What Congress and Gandhi Have Done to the Untouchables, Dr. Ambedkar discusses more about this idea of cultivation of the mind. So he begins by saying, it is true that man shares the constitution and functions of animals, nutritive, reproductive, etc. But these are not distinctively human functions. So Baba Sahib बोल रहे कि evolution की वजह से animals और humans को बहुत similarities है. हमको भी एक rise to tract है, उसको भी है. एंड रिप्रोडक्टिव फंक्शंस वगैरह सब एवरीथिंग कॉमन है, फंक्शंस बहुत सारे कॉमन है, बट डिस्टिंक्टिवली ह्यूमन फंक्शन क्या होता है उसके बारे में डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ये बात करता है. सो ही सेज द डिस्टिंक्टिवली ह्यूमन फंक्शन is reason, the purpose of which is to enable man to observe, meditate, cogitate, study, and discover the beauties of the universe, and enrich his life and control the animal elements in his life. So cultivation of mind का मतलब ये है, डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ये एक्सप्लेन कर रहा है. एनिमल्स भी खाते हैं, हम भी खाते हैं, सोते हैं, पीते हैं, कॉमन, एवरीथिंग कॉमन है, लेकिन हमारे पास एवोल्यूशन की वजह से एक रीजन है, एक फैकल्टी है, एक फैसिलिटी है, उसको यूज करके हम अपनी जिंदगी को बेहतर करना है, ऑब्जर्व करना है, मेडिटेट, कॉजिटेट, सारे चीजों को कॉन्टेम्पलेट करना है, एनालिसिस करना है, और ये जो भी यूनिवर्स है उसको स्टडी करना है, उसको ब्यूटीज को हमको ऑब्जर्व करना है, और हमारे लाइफ को एनरिच एंड एनोबलमेंट करना है, और जो भी हमारे एनिमल एलिमेंट्स है, जो नेगेटिव टेंडेंसीज है, वायलेंस है, सेक्सुअल प्रेडेशन है, जो भी है, उसको कैसे रेगुलेट करना है, वो सब कल्टिवेशन ऑफ माइंड के कॉन्सेप्ट में आता है. I'll explain it in diagrammatic form in the coming slides, but this is what he meant when he said cultivation of mind is the ultimate goal of human existence. Now, he continues and says, man thus occupies the highest place in the scheme of animate existence. सारे एक evolutionary tree को हम देखते हैं, उसमें man top में है. If this is true, what is the conclusion that follows? He says, the conclusion that follows is that while the ultimate goal of brute's life is reached once his physical appetites are satisfied, the ultimate goal of man's existence is not reached unless and until he has fully cultivated his mind. That being so, the aim of human society must be to enable every person, not a single caste or a social group, every person to lead a life of culture, which means the cultivation of mind as distinguished from the satisfaction of mere physical wants. एनिमल्स की तरह खाना पीना सोना ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, समथिंग बिगर, समथिंग ग्रैंडर होना चाहिए, क्योंकि हमको रीजन एक फैसिलिटी दिया गया है एवोल्यूशन ने, उसको यूज करके हमारे माइंड को कल्टिवेट करना है. दैट इज ह्यूमैनिटीज अल्टीमेट गोल, वो बाबा साहब बात कर रहे हैं. इसको हम छोटा सा एक डायग्रामेटिक फॉर्मेट में देखेंगे.
Before you do that, Dr. Sairam, just one technical announcement. We have been doing 100 people for almost half an hour now. This is the limit of this Google Meet. If you are inviting your friends, please invite them to the YouTube live link. I have posted that in the chat. So this is a request to everybody who is impressed and asking your friends to join. Unfortunately, they will hit a wall and it will say that the meeting is not open. So we don't want to turn them away. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Prashant bhai. So, cultivation of mind के बारे में हम discuss कर रहे हैं. So, luckily, all of us are not in the prison now, but definitely most of us are in a mental prison. So, this diagram represents that mental slavery. और ये मेंटल स्लेवरी का एलिमेंट्स क्या हो सकता है? मैंने डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर का जो भी राइटिंग्स है, जो भी पॉइंट्स है जो स्कैटर्ड हुआ है, वो एक जगह मैंने यहाँ इंक्लूड किया था. सो व्हाट आर द एलिमेंट्स ऑफ दिस मेंटल स्लेवरी? फर्स्ट, बाबा साहब बोलते हैं कि मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द पीपल इन द वर्ल्ड आर स्लेव्स ऑफ यूसेजेस, कस्टम्स, ट्रेडिशंस, superstitions and circumstances. Second, majority of the people in the world have no realization of their rights, responsibilities, and duties. Obviously, as a result, we have no consciousness at all. Then, we also battle this inferiority complex. डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर की राइटिंग में बार बार यही पॉइंट देखने को मिलता है कि अनटचेबल्स में एक मेजर प्रॉब्लम है कि उनको इंफीरियरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स है. वो उनका गलती नहीं है, सोशल एनवायरनमेंट ऐसा है कि दे आर मेड टू फील दिस इंफीरियरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स. देन वी हैव दिस सेल्फ डाउट, सेल्फ लोथिंग. आप बहुत अच्छे पढ़ सकते हो, कंटेंट बहुत ज्यादा है, लेकिन सेल्फ डाउट है, क्या मैं कर सकता हूँ या नहीं कर सकता हूँ. इसकी वजह से योर फुल पोटेंशियल इज नॉट बीइंग यूटिलाइज्ड. Then there is this aspect of self-loathing, खुद को नफरत करते हो, मेरा कॉम्प्लेक्शन डार्क है, मेरा हाइट कम है, मेरा वजन ज्यादा है, मेरा फेशियल फीचर्स ऐसा है. This is also a form of mental slavery. Then Dr. Ambedkar very remarkably says, thinking is rare in India, free thinking is rarer still. And then you have this aspect of anti-fraternity or belief in hierarchies. So both aspects आप add कर सकते हो बाबा साहब की writing से. But these are the chief components of what is called as mental slavery. इसकी वजह से humans are not able to translate their full potential into action. Because of these mental slavery and all these elements, they're not able to become good humans or better humans. We have all these tendencies of being casters and sexist. As a result, we are mistreating our own people, our own family members, our own people from the society in a very bad manner. As a result, there is no equality, there is no fraternity, nothing is there. Mental slavery is the main problem. This is what Dr. Ambedkar says. And ये सारे mental slavery और ये सारे elements को कैसे खत्म करता है, वो cultivation of mind हमको बताता है. And the aim of cultivation of mind is to break the shackles of this huge mental slavery जो हम बचपन से सोसाइटी की इंडोक्ट्रिनेशन की वजह से हम जो डेवलप किया है, उसको ब्रेक करना ही cultivation of mind का गोल है. So this is what I wanted to convey. And I'll just give a small example. I don't know how many of you are aware. डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर को बचपन से उनकी कुछ फैमिली मेंबर्स और रिलेटिव्स बोलते थे कि when you are born in मूला नक्षत्र. So when Dr. Ambedkar was born, एक एस्ट्रोलॉजर ने बोला है कि इनका जन्म मूला नक्षत्र में हुआ है, so he won't become a good person, he will be a bad person. सोसाइटी को हार्म करता है, कुछ भी नहीं कर सकता ये बंदा, ऐसा बोला है. डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने खुद बोला है. You can see it in his 1954 speech. Then when he slowly started growing up, when he came to Satara and then in Bombay, सारे सोसाइटी का रिएक्शन क्या है? You are an untouchable kid. Why should you read? उसको सबको पता है. उसको he was not allowed to enter the school. बाहर बैठते थे, और even if he was allowed to enter, गन्नी बैग में बैठते थे. So एक तरह बचपन से बोला जा रहा है कि you are destined to become bad क्योंकि आप मूला नक्षत्र में पैदा हुआ है. And then you have this social pressure of caste which is telling you that you can't do anything in your life. अगर डॉक्टर अंबेडकर ने इस मेंटल कॉम्प्लेक्स का, इस सोशल इंडोक्ट्रिनेशन का विक्टिम बन जाते हैं, तो हमारे जैसे करोड़ों लोग आज भी बाहर रहते थे. बट डॉक्टर अंबेडकर वाज एबल टू ब्रेक दिस सोशल इंडोक्ट्रिनेशन. ये मेंटल स्लेवरी जो भी है, उन्होंने बचपन में ही ब्रेक किया था. And that is why he was able to excel in all the fields and went on to become the chief architect of our constitution and the unchallenged emancipator of crores of marginalized. And this is what he expected from us, कि बचपन से ये social indoctrination है, इसको कैसे break करते हो, इसके काम करना है. And this is also one of the main reasons why he embraced Buddhism. क्योंकि आप देखो बुद्धा इस धम्म में, the very first sermon of Buddha, धम्मचक्र परिवर्तन सूत्र, बुद्धा ये बोलता है कि प्रिजनर को खुद पता नहीं है कि वो प्रिजन में है. हमको भी पता नहीं है कि हम मेंटल स्लेवरी में हैं. सो इस मेंटल स्लेवरी को कैसे डिस्ट्रॉय करते हैं, वही बुद्धिज्म टीच करते हैं. इसलिए डॉक्टर अंबेडकर को बुद्धिज्म बहुत क्लोज है. वन ऑफ द रीजंस. सो दिस इज व्हाट आई वांटेड टू कन्वे. होप आई लैंडेड इट प्रॉपर्ली without making it complex. So yes, breaking the chains of mental slavery is the purpose of cultivation of mind. To sum up small points, so जब डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर बोलते हैं cultivation of mind or life of high culture, these are the three important elements. Appeal to observe, meditate, cogitate, study and discover the beauties of universe. Enrichment and ennoblement of life through arts, literature, meaningful movies, music and so on. Controlling the animal elements of life. ताजुब की बात है, अब ऐसे सिचुएशन में है हम कि डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर बोल रहे हैं कि एनिमल एलिमेंट्स को कंट्रोल करो, लेकिन मूवीज आ रहा है एनिमल. द नेम ऑफ द मूवी शुड हैव बीन क्रिमिनल, क्योंकि क्या दिखाया गया उस मूवी में. सो ऐसे मूवीज को मत देखना है. डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर का सजेशन नहीं है कि मूवीज देखो मतलब हर गार्बेज मूवीज को मत देखो. मीनिंगफुल मूवीज जो सोशल रियलिटीज को डिपिक्ट करता है, जो मेंटल स्लेवरी को ब्रेक करने के लिए आपको मदद देता है, आपका एक्सपीरियंसेस को ब्रॉडन करता है ताकि आप अच्छे ह्यूमन बन सकते हो. ऐसे मूवीज को देखो, एंजॉय करो, प्रोपिगेट करो, बट नॉट एनिमल, पोरबंदर, ऐसा जो भी मूवीज है. सो दिस इज व्हाट डॉक्टर अंबेडकर वाज ट्राइंग टू से. A small extension, I'll just take only 2 minutes and then we'll switch back to our movies part. Cultivation of mind के बात हम अभी किया है. But the real question is, are we living in a society or world where it is possible for the majority of the people to have or lead a life of culture? A question Dr. Ambedkar ने खुद पूछा है. He says, the time and energy spent upon mere life, upon gaining of subsistence, detracts from that available for activities of a distinctively human nature and which go to make up a life of culture. Explain karunga. How then can a life of culture be made possible? Life of culture is not possible unless there is sufficient leisure. For it is only when there is leisure that a person is free to devote himself to a life of culture. इतने नोबल आइडियाज है हमारे सामने. इसको पाने के लिए, इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए आपको टाइम होना चाहिए. बट लुक एट द सिचुएशन. मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द पीपल इन द वर्ल्ड आर स्पेंडिंग मैक्सिमम टाइम ऑफ देयर लाइफ टू अर्न देयर बेसिक लाइवलीहुड. सो डॉक्टर अंबेडकर ये पूछता है कि अगर आपका पूरी जिंदगी बेसिक गोल्स ऑफ द लाइफ, बेसिक नीड्स ऑफ द लाइफ को मीट करने के लिए आप बिताते हो, तो लाइफ ऑफ कल्चर, कल्टिवेशन ऑफ द माइंड का स्कोप ही क्या है? So here he brings the important topic of leisure. So Dr. Ambedkar says, the problem of all problems which human society has to face is how to provide leisure to every individual. What does leisure mean? It's a very important definition. Dr. Ambedkar says, leisure means the lessening of the toil and effort necessary for satisfying the physical wants of life. This is what leisure means. Hindi translation भी include किया था. निश्चिंतता इसी में है कि जीवन के भौतिक मूल्यों की प्राप्ति में उसे कम श्रम करने पड़े. This is what leisure means. मतलब what can be done so that we can reduce our toil. जो भी श्रम है उसको कम करने के लिए जो भी हम करते हैं वही leisure है. That is what Dr. Ambedkar says. And he says, how can we make this leisure possible? So he says, leisure is quite impossible unless some means are found whereby the toil required for producing goods necessary to satisfy human needs is lessened. So what can lessen such toil? So हमको ये करना है कि majority of the people हर दिन श्रम कर रहा है. They're toiling every day. They are getting exploited every day. So in that scenario, what can be done so that they can have maximum leisure? So then Dr. Ambedkar says, only when machine takes the place of man, there is no other means of producing leisure. Machinery and modern civilization are thus indispensable for emancipating man from leading the life of the brute and for providing him with leisure and making a life of culture possible. So, for example, ये दो pictures हम देखते हैं. आज भी इंडिया में ऑलमोस्ट इकोनॉमिक सर्वे की डेटा के ऊपर 50% से ज़्यादा लोग एग्रीकल्चर में हैं इंडिया में. एंड द डिग्री ऑफ मैकेनाइजेशन इज ऑल्सो वेरी लेस. And then good part of 10 to 15% of the people are engaged in harmful activities or harmful professions जो हम बोलते हैं. Mining हो, waste picking हो. Recent data है राज्यसभा में कि almost 5,000 people died in last 2 years because of this picking of the waste. So Dr. Ambedkar is asking this question, कि why should these people, majority of the people, live a life where they are forced to do all these activities? Manual scavenging हो, mining हो, ऐसा waste picking हो, एग्रीकल्चर में काम करने हैं. Why should people do all these things? और कितने दिन ऐसा एक्सप्लोरेशन करना चाहिए? Machines must completely replace all these activities so that these people can be emancipated from the clutches of this physical slavery. This is a very important question क्योंकि हम स्पेस जा रहे हैं, मून में जा रहे हैं, माइक्रो ग्रेविटी एक्सपेरिमेंट्स कर रहे हैं, और ब्लैक होल जो जाने कितने मिलियन लाइट ईयर्स दूर है, उस ब्लैक होल का डायमीटर भी हमको पता है. लेकिन इतने मिलियंस एंड करोड्स ऑफ लोग हैं, उनको ये फिजिकल स्लेवरी से मुक्त करके एक नया जीवन के रास्ते दिखाने में क्यों हम बैकवर्ड हैं? Are the policy makers in the think tank, so-called meritorious people, afraid that if these people are emancipated, their children will go on to become something great and they'll show the real face of the merit? अब डरते हो क्या इन लोगों से? इसीलिए आप इन लोगों को ऐसे ही एक्सप्लॉयटेशन में ही रख रहे हो. So this is the answer that Dr. Ambedkar gives. Machines must replace all these activities so that humans can work on something better. Invest करो भाई, R&D में invest करो. 10,000 crores ले लो, 20,000 crores ले लो, no matter what the amount is. Emancipate all these people. Our own Indians है, foreign तो नहीं है. Emancipate करके उसको नया रास्ता दिखाओ. How many Einsteins, how many Dr. Ambedkars, how many Marie Curies have been left out because many of these people are still doing these harmful activities and dying very prematurely. So this is the question that Dr. Ambedkar asked. I know this, like, you might think this is slightly off the topic, but cultivation of the mind, leisure, and his interests of pursuing all these activities are connected. So इसलिए मैंने include किया था. So this is sort of summary map. So our goal is cultivation of mind. Challenge क्या है? Leisure नहीं है. As a result, majority of the people are unable to devote time for the cultivation of mind. As a result, there's a wastage of tremendous human potential. Solution क्या है Baba Sahib? Let the machines replace man and do all the work so that people can spend their time qualitatively to pursue a high culture of life. And ये सारे बातें बहुत relevant है आज भी. It is not some obscure thing, distant things that are unrelated to our lives. For example, take this newspaper clipping. So नारायण मूर्ति जी बोल रहे हैं कि यूथ को वो आदेश दे रहा है कि work for 70 hours. And then अभी भाविश अग्रवाल एक स्टेप और बढ़कर बोल रहे हैं कि 70 नहीं चाहिए भैया, हमको 140 चाहिए. If this is how he is left, he will say कि 24 hours काम करना है. Now I will give you a very interesting contrast. All of us know that Dr. Ambedkar was a champion of labor. उन्होंने, जैसा हमको पता है, 12 hours working hours जो है उसको reduce करके 8 hours बनाया था. Now उस समय context क्या है? 1942 है. 1942 में इंडिया डेवलप्ड ही नहीं है. डेवलपमेंट का बात ही पता नहीं है. इट्स वेरी अंडरडेवलप्ड. द ब्रिटिश पीपल हैव एक्सप्लॉइटेड अस वेरी मच. डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर का 2 PhD किताबें है, वो इसी एक्सप्लॉइटेशन के ऊपर बात करते हैं. लेकिन उसी अंडर डेवलप्ड कॉन्टेक्स्ट में डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने वर्किंग आवर्स को रिड्यूस किया था. उन्होंने बोला है कि डेवलपमेंट अंडर डेवलपमेंट से वर्किंग आवर्स का रिलेशनशिप नहीं है. पीपल शुड हैव लीजर रिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ द स्टेट ऑफ डेवलपमेंट. इसीलिए उन्होंने 12 आवर्स से 8 आवर्स का तक कम किया था. अब तो हम बहुत डेवलप्ड है. इंडिया इज वर्ल्ड्स 4th फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी. जापान को हमने रिसेंटली ओवरटेक किया है. PPP परचेसिंग पावर पैरिटी में हम आई थिंक 3rd or 4th पोजीशन है. सो इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में वर्किंग आवर्स को रिड्यूस करना चाहिए एक्चुअली. बट दिस इज हाउ द डिस्कशन इज गोइंग ऑन. इंक्रीज करो और इंक्रीज करो एज इफ इट इज सम इंटरेस्ट. सो दैट इज वेयर डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर्स कमेंट्स आर वेरी वेरी रिलेवेंट. Last pick. Look at the condition of these people. Tamil Nadu का एक news है. Salt pan workers begin shift at 1 a.m. to escape severe heat in Thoothukudi. A recent news है 31st May का. So severe heat को escape करने के लिए लोगों को रात में काम करना पड़ रहा है. Now, in this horrifying context, where is the scope for leisure? Where is the scope for the cultivation of mind? Where is the scope for basic humanity? That is why Dr. Ambedkar's remarks on the cultivation of mind and the supreme necessity of leisure assumes a global significance in our times. इसलिए डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर को पढ़ना है. एंड जैसा आपने देखा है, ये सारे जो कंटेंट डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने डिस्कस किया, लीजर, कल्टिवेशन ऑफ माइंड, ये किस बुक में है? व्हाट कांग्रेस एंड गांधी हैव डन टू अनटचेबल्स. सो एनीवन हु माइट थिंक कि यार इस बुक में क्या होगा, मोस्टली कांग्रेस या गांधी का क्रिटिसिज्म होगा. अगर आप ऐसे सोचते हो तो दैट्स अ रॉन्ग थिंग, क्योंकि डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने सारे किताबों में ऐसे बहुत सारे जेम्स को डिस्कस किया था. सो डोंट गो बाय द टाइटल और द कवर ऑफ द बुक. रीड एवरी बुक ऑफ डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर एट आवर BAWS and explore his ideas, क्योंकि all these ideas are relevant not only to India but also to the world. And we should be promoting these ideas कि हमारे बाबा साहब ने पहले ही बोला है ये सारी चीज़ों को एंटिसिपेट करके. क्या हमारे इंटेलेक्चुअल्स वो काम कर रहे हैं? ये दलित फूड या दलित लव, दलित ब्रेकअप के चीज़ों पे ऑक्यूपाइड है. हम इसके ऊपर रिफ्लेक्ट करना है. So we have 2 broad responsibilities. First, we have to cultivate our own minds. Second, strive hard to create conditions where the suffering humanity can live a fulfilling and enriching life with ample leisure and equality. यही डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर का सपना है. So now let us come back to the movies. I know we have taken a slight detour and then we have now come back to the movies part. Trust me, यहाँ से पूरा movies का ही होगा. So far we have seen that Dr. Ambedkar ने एक play देखा है Inside the Lines, and he has seen this movie Uncle Tom's Cabin along with Ramai. Then came the Dharmatma in 35 and then Kunku in 37. Both these movies, last two movies, were made by the great Marathi director V. Shantaram. So और क्या movies देखा है Dr. Ambedkar ने, वो अभी हम explore करेंगे. In 1936, Dr. Ambedkar watched Bombay Talkies' Achut Kanya, starring Devika Rani and Ashok Kumar. Achut Kanya, which was released in 1936, the same year in which Dr. Ambedkar published his path-breaking Annihilation of Caste. So उसी समय release हुआ था. So Achut Kanya tells the story of a romantic relationship between an upper caste Brahmin boy and an untouchable girl, set against the backdrop of rigid caste hierarchies. The film challenged the social norms by portraying the emotional cost of untouchability and forbidden love. And of course, this movie made Devika Rani a superstar of Indian cinema. आज लोग बोल रहा है कि हमारे फिल्म्स ऑस्कर वो मिला है, इंटरनेशनल में वो कर रहा है, ये कर रहा है. भाई देविका रानी का हिस्ट्री पढ़ो. 1920s, लेट 1920s, अर्ली 1930s में उनको मूवीज देखने के लिए लंदन में ब्रिटिश लोग वेट करते थे. That is the stature, that is the legacy of Devika Rani ji. So आज का कोई star, no one can match her stardom at that time. But this film also, of course, gave a new life to Ashok Kumar. Let us see one more interesting anecdote. So as I said, I was speaking to Trishila ma'am recently. So उन्होंने मुझे बहुत interesting anecdote बोला था. So I just wanted to share here. So in one of the old interviews given to Doordarshan, अशोक कुमार, जो आपको पता है बहुत बड़ा स्टार है और किशोर कुमार जी का वो भाई भी है, उन्होंने रिकॉल किया है एक इंटरव्यू में कि आई हैड पर्सनली टेकन डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब अम्बेडकर विथ मी टू द प्लाजा सिनेमा इन दादर टू वॉच माय मूवी अछूत कन्या. ही अप्रिशिएटेड द मूवी वेरी मच. सो अशोक कुमार ने डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर को पर्सनली इन्वाइट करके मूवी को ले गए थे. एंड जो प्लाजा सिनेमा वो रेफर कर रहे थे, वी हैव सीन इट अर्लियर एंड इट वाज the brainchild of V. Shantaram. So here is the case where Dr. Ambedkar watched the movie with the hero himself. So I wanted to thank Trishila ma'am for giving me this wonderful information. In 1940s, it seems Dr. Ambedkar also watched a movie called as Lapandav. I hope I have pronounced it right. So this was made by P.K. Atre, one of the earliest movies of Atre. So it's very interesting to think about the relationship between Atre and Dr. Ambedkar, because initially Atre was quite opposed to Dr. Ambedkar. So उन्होंने एक play लिखा था 1937 में against Dr. Ambedkar's decision to convert to any other religion. So initially there was this phase where there was a confrontation and all. But I think by 1940 slowly things got patched up and Atre went on to become a very good friend of Dr. Ambedkar. So इस context में उन्होंने 1940 में Dr. Ambedkar को invite किया था to see his movie called Lapandav, which deals with the influx of new Western values in the traditional orthodox societies. काफी funny and entertaining movie है. It seems बाबा साहब को बहुत पसंद आया था. And I wanted to thank my friend Dr. Prakash Tupe. उन्होंने इसके बारे में मुझे information दिया था. And now we come to a very interesting part called as, this is Dr. Ambedkar's interview with a popular film magazine called as Film India. I am sure 99% of the audience here, जो लोग यहाँ देख रहे हैं, उनको ये पता नहीं है कि डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने एक फिल्म मैगजीन को इंटरव्यू दिया था. So this is the interview. It's a quite lengthy interview. So I'll share only very few interesting and important excerpts. So उसी मैगजीन से हमको पता होता है कि डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने एक और मूवी देखा है, उसका नाम है द बर्थ ऑफ ए बेबी. So speaking about the same movie in the interview given to film magazine called Film India, Dr. Ambedkar remarks, I saw a little while back a picture called The Birth of a Baby. That is my idea of an educational and a propaganda picture. There was not a single celebrated star in that picture. All the people who were doctors, nurses, patients, husbands and wives in that picture were quite ordinary folk. So this is the autographed picture that Dr. Ambedkar gave to this Film India magazine. You can see to Film India with sign of Dr. Ambedkar. So then Dr. Ambedkar continues, with what wonderful effect the picture teaches how girls and boys in their teens, in marital, prenuptial and postnuptial stages should behave and take care of the newborn? What effective propaganda against abortions of the undesirable sort and in favor of birth control of the right kind the picture contain? I wish some producing company here got permission to copy that picture with slight alterations to suit the Indian scene. It would be a very necessary social service. So here Dr. Ambedkar बहुत तारीफ दे रहे हैं picture को, birth of a baby को. So when this picture was released, it created huge controversy because this picture contains videos of a pregnant lady delivering a baby. So it created a huge uproar among the traditional sections की ऐसे pictures, ऐसे scenes को आप कैसे project कर सकते हैं, you know, in a film. But Dr. Ambedkar ने इसको appreciate किया है क्योंकि as we have seen before, movies, music, art, etc. एक social utility होना चाहिए, in the words of Dr. Ambedkar. So he liked this movie because it showed how young generation people and how all the people who are about to marry and all should behave with each other and how to handle pregnancy, miscarriage होता है तो कैसा handle करना है, सारे चीजें दिखाते हैं movie में. So he says that movies ऐसा होनी चाहिए so that our people who are completely unconscious of all these things should get enlightened after seeing all these things. ये बहुत common चीज है, pregnancy and all, but इसको भी हम handle नहीं कर सकते हैं बहुत cases में. So ऐसे movies को देख के हमारे enlightenment को बढ़ाना है. So that is why Dr. Ambedkar liked this movie. So this movie is available by the way on YouTube. आप देख सकते हो. I wanted to include some pictures, but मैंने सोचा some people might be sensitive, so I'm not including any pictures. But you can search on YouTube, Birth of a Baby, 1938. You'll find this movie and you can watch it. Very, very interesting movie. मुझे बहुत पसंद आया था. Now in the very same interview, Dr. Ambedkar says that, you know, commenting on the important role played by films in our lives, Dr. Ambedkar says, to my mind, films have a particularly important function to perform in India. Our people are too serious. They don't know how to laugh at things and themselves and enjoy the life. This seriousness means concentration of nerves and therefore exhaustion of energy for no useful purpose whatsoever. I have a feeling that we regard coming to life here as a punishment by God. Films are the best medium of teaching our people to see life, to laugh at it, to laugh at themselves, to indulge in self-inquiry and self-criticism. Films are within the reach of all, and I wish they spread about in every nook and corner of the country because they perform this much-needed task of providing relaxation to our highly strung people. So, हमने already cultivation of mind leisure अभी देखा है. So you can relate that Dr. Ambedkar was making the same point here. Our people are completely exploited. They're highly strung people. खुद के ऊपर हंसना और सेल्फ क्रिटिसिज्म करना ये सब पता नहीं है हम लोगों को. बहुत सीरियसली जीते हैं, सबको एक सीरियस मूवी की तरह हम भी इमेजिन करके जीते हैं. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. लाइफ को एंजॉय करना चाहिए. लाइफ के ऊपर हमको मजाक बनाना चाहते हैं. सो ये सब करना है. एंड ही सेज दैट movies have this important function to play so that it provides relaxation. Again, see the word relaxation. It is somehow similar to the leisure. So he says that movies, good movies, provide relaxation to a highly strung people. And he says, speaking about the effectiveness of film as a medium to promote social good, Dr. Ambedkar noted, I am in no sense a film man, not even a fan. I reckon it as a misfortune. So Dr. Ambedkar बोल रहे हैं कि मैं फिल्मी पर्सन नहीं हूँ, फिल्म बफ नहीं हूँ, वो मेरा misfortune है. But when sufficiently advanced in life, you cannot change your habits and tastes. My only passion is books. I'm a voracious reader of them. I read a book now and then when there is an irrepressible prompting, but I do wish films were my passion. They're undoubtedly a far more effective and potential means of education than books. Most men have to learn by visual images, pictures of things. You make full use of all your senses when you see a film, and that makes education easier and more effective. If my message has any value to the readers of Film India, I shall ask them to take as varied and as absorbing as possible an interest in films and their manifold uses for social well-being and social service. So Dr. Ambedkar बोल रहे हैं कि फिल्म्स में जो डिस्प्ले करते हैं, he says that most people learn by looking at images and things and all. विजुअली जो कम्युनिकेशन होता है वो बहुत क्या बोलते हैं, इट इज मोर क्या बोलते हैं, very good. I'm sorry, I'm not finding the right word. It's very, utility is high whenever you learn things by looking at PPTs or movies or videos. So he says we need to use films because of this efficiency, so that we can promote social good through films. So that is what Dr. Ambedkar says in this thing. And finally, Dr. Ambedkar rightly believed that films should educate and enlighten people rather than drenching them further in the ocean of superstitions and irrationality. So he says, our producers have yet to get out of the mythological stupidities, oddities, and deification of mere men. Instead of having the stories of Eknath and Chokomela with all their eccentricities and miracles as superstitiously transferred to the screen, which promotes superstitions on a vast scale with 20th century apparatus, our producers will do well to depict how the depressed class movement has outgrown its humanitarian and religious shell and broken into a self-reliant movement demanding the rights of men. So this criticism of films, because already by the time he gave his interview in 42, so already by the time we have seen so many movies that promote superstitions, mythologies and so on. And Gandhi के ऊपर भी बहुत movies बनाया था 42 के ऊपर. So सब देख के बाबा साहब को लगा कि if you are using this wonderful medium to promote all these stupidities, then there is no use. So he says that instead of all these stupid mythological stories and magic and all, why not show how the common people who are facing exploitation and casteism have fought in their own life to become a better people, to break the shackles of their own mental and physical slavery. इसको दिखाना चाहिए ताकि बहुत लोगों को enlightenment हो सके. ए mythological stupidities मत दिखाओ. So I think this message is more relevant than ever. Now let us move to phase 3. I'll complete in 15 to 20 minutes, so please don't worry. So we have now entered the final phase. In 1948, Dr. Ambedkar married Dr. Savita Ambedkar, and evidence points that they have watched at least 5 movies together. First is Oliver Twist, which was released in 48, then Kalpana in the same year, Baiju Bavra in 1952, Shamachi Ai in 53, and finally Mahatma Phule in 54. Oliver Twist के बारे में हमको उतना ज़्यादा information नहीं है. It's just that it's an adaptation of Charles Dickens' novel with the same title. So let us move to the next movies. Now let us see more about Uday Shankar's Kalpana and Vijay Bhatt's Baiju Bavra. Now, this information regarding Kalpana, I found it in this fascinating book written by Vasha Ukeji, titled Growing Up with Dr. Ambedkar. So recently I've read this book, and मुझे इतना अच्छा लगा इस book में क्योंकि it has so many interesting and rare anecdotes about the life of Dr. Ambedkar. So पढ़ते वक्त मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा है, and also has so many references to his personal life, his personal tastes of watching movies, music and so on. So I request each and everyone to buy this book. Amazon में available है, and read this क्योंकि it's a fascinating documentation of Dr. Ambedkar's lesser known facets of life. So इस book में वर्षा जी ने mention किया that Dr. Ambedkar watched this movie called as Kalpana, and उसको बहुत पसंद आया था उस movie. So I was very excited कि इस movie में क्या है कि Dr. Ambedkar को बहुत अच्छा लगा. So before going into that, I'll just give a brief intro on these people. So उदय शंकर जी जो इस मूवी का हीरो है, डायरेक्टर है, बहुत सारे डिपार्टमेंट्स को हैंडल किया था इस मूवी में. He is the brother of the famous sitarist पंडित रविशंकर. So उदय शंकर जी ने और उसकी वाइफ अमला शंकर जी के साथ इस मूवी में काम किया था, and this movie is called Sculpting. So this movie tells a story of a normal dancer who ultimately wanted to have a huge institution of dance. वो उसका एम्स एंड एस्पिरेशंस के बारे में वो मूवी चलता है. एंड मुझे मूवी में ये पसंद आया कि अपार्ट फ्रॉम भरतनाट्यम एंड अदर डांस फॉर्म्स, उन्होंने बहुत सारे इंडिया का डाइवर्स डांस फॉर्म्स है, ट्राइबल डांस फॉर्म्स है, नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडिया का जो भी डांस फॉर्म्स है, उसको सारी चीज़ों को इंक्लूड किया था इस मूवी में टू शो दी extraordinary remarkable diversity of dance forms of a great Indian subcontinent. So ये सारे इस मूवी में हैं. And this movie also features famous Travancore sisters. I think you might recognize this lady. She's Padmini Ji. Yesterday was her birthday. She's no longer with us anyway. So Padmini Ji, आपको पता होगा, famous Tamil actress, Telugu में भी काम किया था. हिंदी में भी बहुत मूवीज में काम किया था. मेरा नाम जोकर में पद्मिनी जी है. सो पद्मिनी जी का डेब्यू इसी मूवी से हुआ है. एंड द सेकंड लेडी हु इज इन दिस पिक्चर, हर नेम इज लक्ष्मी कांता. शी इज अ वेरी पॉपुलर डांसर. उन्होंने तेलुगु और तमिल फिल्म्स में भी काम किया था. तेलुगु पीपल अगर कोई है तो उनको पता है कि देयर इज अ मूवी कॉल्ड पाताला भैरवी, एक्टेड बाय द लेजेंडरी एनटीआर. सो उस मूवी में वो उसका एक सॉन्ग भी है उस तेलुगु मूवी में. सो इन लोगों की डेब्यू इसी मूवी से हुआ है. सो दैट इज व्हाट आई वांटेड टू से. एंड वन मोर थिंग, बाबा साहब ने तमिल या तेलुगु मूवीज नहीं देखा है. आई गेस उस समय सबटाइटल्स वगैरह नहीं है. दिस इज व्हाट आई फील. लेकिन तमिल और तेलुगु एक्टर्स ने जो भी मूवीज में काम किया था उस मूवीज को डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने देखा है. Now let us watch this small clip from this movie and then we will have a discussion. So please let me know if this audio is not working or anything. मैं play करता हूँ.
हमारे पूर्वजों ने भारत माता को संसार का मुकुट बनाया था. हमारे यहाँ बड़े बड़े ऋषि और मुनि पैदा हुए थे. हमारे पूर्वजों में राम, कृष्ण और बुद्ध जैसे अवतार हुए हैं. कालिदास, खुसरू, तुलसीदास, सूरदास, कबीर, ज़ोक, गालिब, रविंद्रनाथ जैसे कवि और शायर हमारे ही देश में हुए हैं. और आज भी गांधी जैसे महात्मा हमारे ही देश में निवास करते हैं. ये सिर्फ बढ़-बढ़ कर बातें ही बनाना जानते हैं, मगर खुद कुछ नहीं करना चाहते. बोलो गांधी जी की जय. बोलो भारत माता की जय.
बंद कर दो ये जय जयकार. पार्श्विकता, सांप्रदायिक झगड़े और रूढ़ियों की श्रृंखलाओं में बंधी हुई माँ को इन जय जयकारों के तीरों से मत मारो. मैं हर बार सोचती थी ये जयकार मेरे उत्थान के लिए कर्म में बदलेंगी, पर वो केवल ओंठों पर ही रह गई. माँ की आजादी तुम्हारी जहालत और तबाही के अंधेरे में आने से डरती है. कौम को, देश को और इंसानियत को आजाद करने से पहले तुम्हें अपने को मूर्खता के बंधन से आजाद करना होगा. गहरी नींद में पड़े हुए तुम क्रांति का सपना देख रहे हो. उस क्रांति के सपने में तुम अपनी शक्तियों को एक दूसरे का गला काटने में लगा रहे हो.
एक ही जाति और धर्म की फिरके बंदियों से हमारे सामाजिक जीवन में जहर फैल रहा है.
प्रेम और एकता की जिस शक्ति से इंसानियत बच सकती है, उस शक्ति को अपनी मिसाल देकर सच्चा और अजय साबित करो.
आशा है.
जागो कि जमाना तुम्हें जगा रहा है. एक हो जाओ क्योंकि तुम सचमुच एक हो.
So this is a short clip from the movie Kalpana of Uday Shankar. So इस clip का significance यही है कि this movie was released in 48. So maybe they must have shot it in 46 or 47. By the way, this was shot at Gemini Studios in Tamil Nadu. So इस clip का significance ये है कि उदय शंकर ने उस political atmosphere को बहुत criticize किया था, where they have given high preference to political changes rather than social reform. इसमें इस वीडियो में वही है कि आप सब लोग बोल रहे हैं कि गांधी जी की जय, मेरा देश में वो पैदा हुआ है, ये पैदा हुआ है. All these slogans are just only for slogan's sake. Real काम क्या है? So यहाँ मदर इंडिया की एक representation वो आती है लेडी. So she says कि all these are mere slogans. हमेशा मैं सोचता हूँ कि कुछ ना कुछ पॉजिटिव होगा because these people are giving such high and tall slogans. लेकिन रियलिटी में कुछ भी नहीं है. सोसाइटी में इलिटरेसी है, डेवास्टेशन ऑफ कॉमन थिंग्स है, कास्टिज्म है, मिसोजिनी है, सब चीजें हैं. इन सब को कब खत्म करते हो, ये रियल इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है. सो दिस इज अ टेरिफिक सैटिरिकल टेक ऑफ उदय शंकर ऑन द देन एक्सिस्टिंग पॉलिटिकल क्लाइमेट हु आर क्लैमरिंग फॉर इंडिपेंडेंस चाहिए, पॉलिटिकल इंडिपेंडेंस चाहिए. लेकिन उदय शंकर बहुत इंटरेस्टिंगली बोलते हैं इस मैसेज से कि भाई पहले तुम अपने इंडिया में जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स है, सोशल लीवल्स है, उसको खत्म करो. ऑटोमेटिकली एवरीथिंग गेट सेट. डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर हैज नेवर अपोज्ड इंडिपेंडेंस मूवमेंट. In fact, he is the first person to demand a full and representative independence for this country. Go and see his round table speeches. उस समय ये गांधी नेहरू कहाँ थे? नहीं है वो. सेकेंड राउंड टेबल कॉन्फ्रेंस में गांधी आए थे. सो डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर पहले से सपोर्ट करे, लेकिन the only prerequisite that he demanded is पहले सोशल जो भी फैब्रिक है वो बहुत खराब है, उसको आप ठीक करो, then automatically things will get improved. He demanded this what is called as accountability from the British government. तुम लोग ने यहाँ आए 150-200 years में पूरे देश को नाश किया. You should not go without setting all these things right. और नेहरू गांधी ने बोला कि मैं मैनेज करूंगा, मैं आऊंगा, मुझे आते हैं. क्या किया हमको सब पता है. लास्ट 70-75 years में क्या हुआ है, हमारे कास्टिज्म की क्या मैनिफेस्टेशन कम हुआ है, मिसोजिनी और बढ़ता जा रहा है, एजुकेशन में, environmental damage में, जो भी आप सोशल इंडिकेटर ले लो. Even today there are millions of children who go to bed without having food. अब न्यूज़पेपर खुद एनसीआर भी बोलते हैं ये सब, एनएचएफएस भी यही बोलते हैं. So this is what Uday Shankar did. So Dr. Ambedkar must have enjoyed this movie because it deals with this, there's a close parallel to his philosophy, which says that political independence से पहले social emancipation होना चाहिए. And इस movie में बहुत सारे ऐसे scenes है where he attacks caste system, untouchability, misogyny, labor problems, and so on. So it is like a very enjoyable film for Dr. Ambedkar. It's not surprising that he liked it very much. So I thank Varsha ji for sharing this information in her fascinating book. And one more small point. As I said, this movie is about Uday Shankar's dream to establish a huge institute for dancing and all. So it's a dancing academy open करना चाहते थे. I guess ये point भी बाबा साहब को थोड़ा connect हुआ होगा, क्योंकि this was also the same time when he was establishing his Siddharth College in Bombay and Milind College के plans बन रहे थे 48 में. So he was able to connect with the aspirations that Uday Shankar was sharing on the screen. कि ऐसा institute बनना चाहिए जहाँ all-round development of boys and girls दोनों का होना चाहिए, where there is a scope for martial arts, learning, singing, all the extracurricular activities. If you look at the record of Milind College or Siddharth College, 1948 से I think 60 या 65 तक सारे एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज में ये स्टूडेंट्स टॉप थे. डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर बहुत गर्व से बोलते हैं इसको एक स्पीच में राजेंद्र प्रसाद के सामने 50 में. So he must have connected with this aims and aspirations of Uday Shankar. And just one more point here. So this approach of Dr. Ambedkar to open education institutions in very backward areas of India like Aurangabad and now Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar has directly clashed with the so-called vision of Chacha Nehru or his so-called planning commission team. Chacha Nehru and their team believed in this so-called trickle-down effect and all. इसीलिए उन्होंने IITs खोला था, एम्स ओपन किया था. हमारे लोग भी कुछ लोग मैं देख रहा हूँ सोशल मीडिया में कि नेहरू जी ने बहुत बड़ा काम किया. किसके लिए उपयोग है भाई? बेसिक स्कूल एजुकेशन ही नहीं है. उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आप IITs ओपन किया तो किसका बेनिफिट होता है? ऑलरेडी जो ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट का एजुकेशन बेनिफिट ले आया था अपर स्टेटस से, उसका ही बेनिफिट होता है. मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ ये सब. अब ये दोनों बुक्स देखिए, मैंने रेफरेंस भी दिया था मायरन वीनर का. सो मायरन वीनर उनकी बुक में बोलते हैं कि इवन द मोस्ट अंडरडेवलप्ड कंट्रीज एजुकेशन के ऊपर एक स्पेशल लॉ बनाया था वेरी इमीडिएटली आफ्टर द इंडिपेंडेंस. लेकिन इंडिया में राइट टू ऑफ एजुकेशन एक्ट कब आया था? प्लीज लेट मी नो इन द कमेंट सेक्शन. 1950s में नहीं आया, 60s में नहीं आया, 2000s में आया था. अब लोग यू कैन टाइप योर आंसर. व्हाई? अंडरडेवलप्ड कंट्रीज में भी आपको एजुकेशन के लिए स्पेशल लॉ है, लेकिन इंडिया में 2008-2007 में आया. सो दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. सो हमारे लोग भी सोशल मीडिया में नेहरू जी को तारीफ करना बंद करना चाहिए. So when you criticize Nehru, it doesn't mean that you are pro X party or Y party. Nehru is a disaster. बाबा साहब खुद बोला था कि any prime minister in the first 4 or 5 years could do magic. उन्होंने कुछ भी नहीं किया. IITs ओपन किया, IITs ओपन. किसके लिए उपयोग है भाई ये सब IITs? आज भी हमारे लोगों को वो बहुत डिस्क्रिमिनेट करता है. All these facts are known. I don't need to repeat them again. So what I wanted to contrast is Dr. Ambedkar's approach is far more superior, far more नहीं, 1000 times superior than so-called planning commission approach. उन्होंने बेस से स्टार्ट किया था. औरंगाबाद में मोस्ट बैकवर्ड रीजन है, वहां शुरू किया था स्कूल को. उनको पता है कि गर्ल्स नहीं आ रहे स्कूल को क्योंकि स्कूल एंड विलेजेस का डिस्टेंस बहुत ज्यादा है. उन्होंने इंडिया में फर्स्ट टाइम स्कूल बसेस शुरू किया था डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने, सो दैट गर्ल्स who are living in the distant villages can avail the facility of bus and can study in his college. So this is the legacy of Dr. Ambedkar as the institutional builder. इसके बारे में भी हमको discussion करना है. So yeah. So last 5-10 minutes, I'm sorry, I think I have taken so much of time. So yeah, 1952 में डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने एक और मूवी देखा था, उसका नाम है बैजू बावरा. So acted by Bharat Bhushan, a very popular actor at the time, and also one of my favorite actresses, Meena Kumari ji. So इसके information मुझे recently वैभव चैया भाई ने दिया था. I gave a small clip to him recently for his video. So उसी दिन उन्होंने share किया था कि Dr. Ambedkar ने बाइजू बावरा भी देखा है. So I quote the relevant excerpts from a book. So this is the quote of Sudama, who worked with Dr. Ambedkar. So Sudama says, I recall one day when Baba Saheb and Mai Saheb went to the Kashmiri cinema hall to watch the film Baiju Bawra. The show was scheduled for 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Upon returning from the movie, Baba Saheb said to me, Sudama, serve the dinner quickly. Accordingly, I served the meal. Baba Saheb then summoned the driver and instructed him, take Sudama to watch the movie and bring him back once the show is over. The movie ended at 12 o'clock midnight. Baba Saheb had indeed sent the car to pick me up. The driver and I returned to the bungalow late that night. Baba Saheb had thoroughly enjoyed the film. So this is a very interesting anecdote about Dr. Ambedkar watching Baiju Bawra starring Bharat Bhushan and Meena Kumari. So this is the first major hit for Meena Kumari. And interestingly, this movie was directed by Vijay Bhatt, जिन्होंने मीना कुमारी जी को इंट्रोड्यूस किया था वे बैक इन 1938. हर रियल नेम इज महजबीन. सो इस मूवी से मीना कुमारी जो नाम है वो पॉपुलर हुआ है. सो डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर को ये मूवी इतना पसंद आया कि उनके जो घर में काम करने वाले लोगों को बोला है कि जाके मूवी देखे आओ. सो दैट इज द डेप्थ ऑफ हिज लव फॉर दिस मूवी. एंड ऑफ कोर्स द मूवी हैज अ वेरी स्टेलर कास्ट एंड क्रू. इट हैज म्यूजिक फ्रॉम नौशाद. इंटरेस्टिंगली नौशाद वन ओनली वन फिल्म फेयर फॉर म्यूजिक. मुझे ये थोड़ा सरप्राइजिंग लगा है. वो इसी मूवी का है. And then you also have this great actor and also singer called Surendra, who played the role of Tansen. Sorry, I think मैंने context नहीं बताया था. So this story, Baiju Bawra, is about a small boy who wants to take revenge from Tansen. क्योंकि वो मानते थे कि तानसेन की वजह से उनकी father की मौत हुआ है. So from childhood, he's ready to take revenge against Tansen and wanted to beat Tansen in the court of Akbar. So, and also interestingly, this movie slightly touches upon the aspect of caste. क्योंकि ये हीरो का कास्ट क्या है हमको पता नहीं है. 2-3 सीन्स है मूवी में where people say कि ना जात पात पता है ना घर वालों को ठिकाना पता है. So it's a slight indication that this boy is from lower caste community who went on to beat the great majestic Tansen, the legend of music. So that transformation, that arc of transformation, must have impressed Dr. Ambedkar. Of course, not to speak of the great music, the display of the scenes, filled with rapture and all. So, and one more small point. ये movie Akbar के court के time में है, right? Way back in 1923, Dr. Ambedkar wrote his second PhD called as Problem of the Rupee. You read the first chapter; it's full of coins and all of the Akbar time. So उनको मुगल हिस्ट्री के बारे में भी बहुत strong grip है. In fact, when he was in London, he went to the Library of London and all, and he bought all the books of numismatics that deals with coins and all. Interestingly, जो data हमको पता है मुगल era की coins के ऊपर, it was collected by James Prinsep, and James Prinsep is the same person who has deciphered the Ashoka Dammalipi script, जो बहुत 1000 सालों तक किसी ने भी डिकोड नहीं किया, लेकिन जेम्स प्रिंसेप ने डिकोड किया था. सो उसके बुक्स को रेफरेंस लेके डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर डिस्कस करते हैं कैसे रूपी वैल्यू कॉइन्स फ्लक्चुएशन हुए थे मुगल एम्पायर के एंडिंग के बाद. सो यू मस्ट हैव रिकॉल्ड अर्ली स्टूडेंट डेज मे बी व्हाइल वाचिंग द मूवी. जस्ट अ स्मॉल गेस. सो वन मोर इंटरेस्टिंग स्मॉल पिक्चर फ्रॉम द मूवी. शायद आप लोगों ने गेस किया होगा, एक सॉन्ग है तू गंगा की मौज है तुम्हें यमुना का दादा हूं. So this is the only song for which Naushad has got the Filmfare Award. And of course, this film also has a very popular Punjabi actress, Kuldeep Kaur ji, who's very famous portraying villain roles or negative roles. Unfortunately, she died very young because while playing in the garden, she got injured by a thorn. उन्होंने बहुत लाइट ले लिया था कि हाँ ऐसे इंजरीज को मैंने बहुत देखा था. वो सीरियस इन्फेक्शन होके she ultimately passed away. So that was the era where antibiotics are not available so easily. So yeah, very talented actress but gone too soon. And then 53 में डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने ये मूवी देखा है श्यामाची आए, डायरेक्टेड बाय P.K. अत्रे. वेरी फेमस फिल्म बेस्ड ऑन साने गुरुजी का नोवेल के ऊपर बना था. इसके लिए अत्रे को नेशनल अवार्ड में मिला था. And then in the very next year, 54, I'll be going through the first. Dr. Ambedkar, of course, most of us might be knowing, he has seen this film called Jyotiba Phule, directed by P.K. Atre. So this is the picture of Muhurt ceremony where Dr. Ambedkar ने इस movie को launch किया था at the very popular studio called as Famous Studios. अशोक कुमार जी का जो घर है वो Famous Studios के पास ही है. Of course, we have this terrific actor Babura Pendarkar, who's also, by the way, related to V. Shantaram. And then you have Sulochana ji here playing the role of Savitri Mai, P.K. Atre, and others. So, to quote the words of Dr. Savita Ambedkar, she says, after the film was ready, Dr. Ambedkar and Savita Ambedkar were invited for the premiere. Recollecting about that event, Dr. Savita Ambedkar said, once the film was ready, Atre also invited us for its premiere. Sahib was completely overwhelmed when he saw the movie. As he saw it, he remembered Mahatma Phule's work and sacrifice and wept. After the movie was over, he patted Pendarkar on the back for his excellent performance and congratulated Atre too. Not satisfied with this, he wrote a letter to Atre on 20th January 1955, lavishing praise on him and wishing the movie success. So, letter yahi hai. I wanted to thank Vijay Surwade sir for sharing this letter on his Facebook wall. So, in this letter, as we can see, Dr. Ambedkar wrote it to Atre, where he says, "My dear Atre, I've had the pleasure of seeing Jyotiba Phule. I must say it is an excellent film, both from the point of view of the subject matter and its display. It is worth a visit. I hope it will prove a success." It went on to win so many awards. वो अभी YouTube में available है, लेकिन English subtitles नहीं है, so मेरे जैसे लोगों को वो problem है. But Marathi friends can definitely enjoy this movie. So this is one more picture from that Muhurt ceremony. So small interesting thing. So Gaurav Patil ji hai yaha, Dr. Baba Sahib hai, Savita ji hai, Babu Rao and others. So this person, can you guess his name? Please let me know in the comment section अगर आपको पता है. So this person is Shair Amar Sheikh, a very popular poet at that time, and he also wrote few songs for this movie. उसका daughter ही मालिका जी है जिन्होंने हमारे नामदू दसल जी को शादी किया था. So these pictures ऐसे दिख रहा है कि daughter and father are looking at each other. So this is one more fascinating anecdote that I wanted to share. So yes, so जो सुलोचना जी है जो सावित्री माई का रोल प्ले किया था, she went on to act in many movies as a leading heroine. In the 1970s and all, she played the roles of a mother. As you can see in this picture with Rajesh Khanna and Nazir Hussain from the movie Kati Patang, released in 1971. And this is also the only movie for which Asha Parekh got the Filmfare Award. And of course, she also acted with Amitabh in the late. मैं तो राजेश खन्ना का fan था, so I somehow wanted to include this picture in this presentation. Include किया था. I used to be a huge fan of him, but when I came to know about his marriage with Dimple ji, was just small age at the time. So थोड़ा impression change हुआ, but fan ही रहता है. So Dr. Savita Ambedkar also shares an interesting interaction between Patte Bapurao and Dr. Ambedkar. So she wrote, "There is another example of Sahib literally driving away the famous theatre man Patte Bapurao by telling him, 'I don't want so much as a shell from a person who makes his money by getting untouchable women to dance on the stage.' A number of capitalists had expressed their readiness to help on condition that the institutions be named after them. But Sahib never accepted money that was earned by illegal means." This is a starking example of the moral character of Dr. Ambedkar. बहुत लोगों ने आए थे बाबा साहब के पास to give some donations and all. उन्होंने flatly refuse किया था कि तुम जैसे immoral लोगों से मैं पैसा नहीं लूंगा. That is why he famously said to Savita Ambedkar in one of the letters, "My whole position in public life is built upon my reputation as a man of character and unsullied morals. Here's the most important thing. If my enemies are afraid of me and respect me, it is because of this." And this is the degree of character that he wanted all of his followers to emulate, so that they can become the greatest humans and even their enemies are scared of them. So fast देखेंगे. I'm sorry, I think I've taken so much time. So 55 में movie आया था, Mr. and Mrs. 55. गुरुदत्त ने direct किया था. And this movie is an attack on Dr. Ambedkar's Hindu code bill. I don't know how many of you have seen this movie from that perspective. एक छोटा सा clip देते हैं. I will fastly wind up. I'm really sorry. Only 1 minute clip and then we'll.
एक बात पूछूं भाभी? दो पूछो ना. आपके पति कभी-कभी पीटती भी हो आपको? तन मन से प्यार भी तो वही करते हैं। भात खाते समय कभी कभी दांत तले कंकर भी आ जाता है, उससे लोग भात तो खाना नहीं छोड़ देते। ब्याह हो जाने दो तुम्हारा, तो जानोगे पति का प्यार।
भाई इतना डिस्गस्टिंग जस्टिफिकेशन जो घर में होते हैं, जो प्रेडेटरी बिहेवियर मैंने कभी भी नहीं देखा है। एंड दिस मूवी वाज डायरेक्टेड बाय गुरुदत्त, हु इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी अ प्रोग्रेसिव इन मेनी सर्कल्स। इस मूवी में ओपनली बोल रहे हैं कि पति मार सकते हैं अपनी पत्नी को, एंड वी कंसिडर दिस मूवी एज अ कल्ट मूवी। एंड इफ दिस डिलीवरिंग दिस डिस्गस्टिंग डायलॉग इज नॉट एनफ, वेरी नेक्स्ट सीन में गुरुदत्त आके बोलते हैं, उधर तुम हंसी हो इधर दिल जवा है, ये रंगीन रातों की दस्तान है। अरे भाई, हिपोक्रेसी का भी एक सीमा होता है। अभी अभी बोला है बहुत डिस्कस्टिंग डायलॉग, वेरी नेक्स्ट सीन में बोल रहे हैं उधर तुम हंसी हो इधर दिल जवा है। गुरुदत्त जी, हिपोक्रेसी पर कुछ सीमा होता है, राइट? सो आई जस्ट वांट टू सिंपली से दैट पीपल आर सेइंग अभी बहुत क्या बोलते हैं, प्रोपेगेंडा मूवीज आ रहे हैं, पोरबंदर, वो बंदर, ये बंदर, लेकिन पहले से ही ऐसे बहुत सारे डिस्गस्टिंग कास्टिस्ट एंड मिसोजिनिस्ट मूवीज बनी थी पहले से ही, नया नहीं है, पहले से ही। आप एक बार ये सारे मूवीज को देखो, कितना पॉइजन है उनके अंदर, बाबा साहब की प्रोग्रेसिव व्यूज के ऊपर आप देख सकते हो। सो या, दिस इज व्हाट इट इज। सो एंड इंटरेस्टिंगली, Dr. Ambedkar also say one more play called as Yuga Yatra. It was written by his associate M.B. Chitnis. So this play deals about how the conditions of untouchables through the ages, olden time से लेके बाबा साहब के टाइम तक कैसे untouchables का लाइफ रहा है, वो उसके बारे में डिस्कशन है। And Dr. Ambedkar also gave inputs for this thing. And so बाबा साहब को ये प्ले इतना अच्छा लगा है कि उन्होंने इसी प्ले को 14 अक्टूबर 1956 में भी प्ले किया था, एंड ही लाइक्ड इट वेरी मच बिकॉज इट शोज, इट डिपिक्ट्स द स्टेट ऑफ अनटचेबल्स इन अ वेरी रियलिस्टिक मैनर। एंड इंटरेस्टिंगली इसमें हीरो बाबा साहब ही है। सो ही हैज सीन हिज ओन प्ले ऑफ हिज अचीवमेंट्स in his own lifetime. And if you want to read more about this play and the reference to it, you can visit our website. मैंने यहाँ highlight भी किया था. The name of the play is Yuga Yatra. So it was played on 14th October during the conversion ceremony. Okay. So of course, Lata Mangeshkar, जैसे हमको पता है, she never sang song for Baba Saheb, but one day in a tweet she said कि on the anniversary of Bharat Ratna Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar ji, father of Indian Constitution, I offer him a million prayers. I met him in person, and that is my good fortune. लता जी बहुत अच्छा ट्वीट किया था, लेकिन it would have been very nice if she had agreed to sing songs for Baba Saheb, but bad luck उसका ही है. And this is one more rare picture taken by Milind Mankar sir. Milind Mankar sir इतना अच्छा आदमी है कि उन्होंने बहुत सारे rare pictures को share किया था without adding his name or anything. तो मैंने ही खुद उसका नाम यहाँ add किया था, because documentation and those who document सबको हम respect करना चाहिए. So this is the picture of the great singer Manade at Diksha Bhumi in Nagpur. So did he meet Dr. Ambedkar in his lifetime? वो हमको पता नहीं, but he came to Diksha Bhumi. And रफी जी के ऊपर एक बुक लिखा था उनकी डॉटर ने, उसमें ये इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी शेयर करता है कि when India got independence, all these singers were invited. रफी साहब को, उस्ताद बिस्मिल्लाह खान साहब को इनवाइट किया था, और पर्सनली फर्स्ट कैबिनेट को ये सारे सिंगर्स ने, रफी जी ने, किशोर कुमार, मुकेश, लता मंगेशकर, उस्ताद बिस्मिल्लाह खान, ये सारे लोग फर्स्ट कैबिनेट ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंट इंडिया के सामने ये म्यूजिकल प्ले दिया था. ऑफ कोर्स फर्स्ट कैबिनेट में डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर थे. सो I don't think it is wrong to guess that all these singers must have met Dr. Ambedkar during that time. And maybe Lata ji must also have met Dr. Ambedkar during this occasion. So ये मेरा guess है. So this is a video I wanted to play, but time नहीं है. I wanted to thank my friend Nakshatra for sharing this link of a documentary where Ustad Saab says कि music का कोई जात पात नहीं होता है. Anyone can learn the music. This is so contrary to so many classical singers उसे कि म्यूजिक हमारे ब्लड में है, वीन्स में है, हार्ट में है, जीन्स में है. सो ये काउंटर है उस्ताद साहब का, जो भारत रत्न भी है. सो हियर इज अ पिक्चर ऑफ उस्ताद साहब रिसीविंग भारत रत्न फ्रॉम आवर के.आर. नारायण साहब. वन मोर इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग, उस्ताद जी कम्स फ्रॉम दलित कम्युनिटी ओनली, लेकिन इस्लाम मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी है, बट ही इज ऑल्सो फ्रॉम शेड्यूल्ड कास्ट कम्युनिटी ओनली. सो नाउ, oh my god, I'm taking so much of time. Sorry, just 10 minutes only, I'll finish it up. So now let us see the part of Dilip Kumar. जैसे हम सबको पता है, Dilip Kumar is considered to be the one of the greatest, if not the greatest heroes of Bollywood, king of Bollywood भी कहा जाता है कभी-कभी. He met Dr. Ambedkar on multiple occasions. I'm stressing the word multiple occasions because there is a क्या बोलते हैं, rumor बोलो या जो भी common parlance में जो लोग मानते हैं कि Dilip Kumar met Dr. Ambedkar only once, and उस meeting में बहुत heated discussion हुआ है. But Dr. Ambedkar said, I don't want to take money from you because you film stars are very immoral and all. वो incident हुआ है. Dr. Ambedkar did not take money from Dilip Kumar and said कि your film stars are not good and all. But that is not the only occasion when Dilip Kumar met Dr. Ambedkar. I recently had the opportunity to interact with Jabbar Patel sir, who is the director of the movie Dr. Ambedkar. So he told me that Dilip Kumar met Dr. Ambedkar on multiple occasions in Nagpur, Mumbai and other places. So उस कॉन्वर्जेशंस में क्या हुआ कि डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने एक बार बोला दिलीप कुमार को, आपका कम्युनिटी में भी बहुत सारे बैकवर्ड क्लासेस लोग हैं, उसको आप मदद करना चाहिए. उसके रेफरेंस हम नेक्स्ट देखेंगे. सो डोंट बिलीव कि एक ही बार मिला है और उसमें दिलीप कुमार को बहुत सीरियसली गुस्से बातें हुए हैं. वो सच है, लेकिन उसके बाद भी दिलीप कुमार मिला था और दे शेयर्ड अ गुड रिलेशनशिप. और दिलीप कुमार को कितना रेस्पेक्ट है बाबा साहब के ऊपर अब हम देखेंगे. So when Jabbar Patel made this movie on Dr. Ambedkar, Dilip Kumar was the chief guest. So उन्होंने बाबा साहब की क्रेडेंस के ऊपर ये बोला है, the completion of the film on Dr. Ambedkar, or I should rather say, to have the courage to venture and try and make a film on a man, was given this country its constitution, which defines the rights of every given individual on this land, rights in equity, and thereby rights in decency, and made this country as one of the fraternity of the civilized people on this earth. It's strange how historians, even the media, the people, and politicians have bypassed this great man who, through his sacrifice and scholarship, who with his will and great determination went on. I had the unique experience and pleasure to have met Dr. Ambedkar during his closing years in life. I don't think I need to dilate upon my own experience with him, but definitely his life is a shining example for all those people who are civilized. We were the first country to have a constitution that defined the rights of every single individual, not a sector of people or not a community, but every given individual. We were all young when the country was free, and we had a great deal of reverence for Dr. Ambedkar. So ये दिलीप कुमार जी का बात है. So this is the picture. So मैंने बोला था डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने उनको एक बार बोला है कि you should do something for your own backward classes in your community. And दिलीप कुमार ने वो back of the mind रखा था. 80s में when Mandal Commission thing was happening, he came openly and fought for the rights of backward classes of all religions. And this is the picture which was shared by Abhijit Anand in his article. So you can see Dilip Kumar here, Shibir Ansari ji, and then you have Ramvilas Paswan ji. It's very important leader. SHT Act लाने में उनका बहुत महत्व रहा है. And you can also see Johnny Walker in this thing. So there is one more picture shared by my dear friend Dr. Purnima. उसका dad ने share किया था, Dr. Deepak Shekuji Gaikwad ji, who is an MPhil and PhD, former Panther, and also a professor of history. So this is the picture of Dilip Kumar with the students of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Mathwar University. He used to regularly interact with all the students and all. And my friend Vinay Shinde ji ने भी एक बार बोला है कि he used to regularly contribute to December 6th event in Bombay. So this is the connection between Dilip Kumar and Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Dilip Kumar and Babasaheb connection हमने देखा है. So is there any connection between Raj Kapoor or Devanand, with Dr. Babasaheb? Devanand को पता नहीं है, लेकिन राज कपूर का एक connection है, वो अभी हम देखेंगे. So this is a book called Raj Kapoor, The Master at Work, written by Rahul Ravel. So Rahul Ravel जी वो है जिन्होंने लव स्टोरी का मूवी डायरेक्ट किया था, 1980-81 में आया था, बहुत बड़ा स्टार है. कुमार गारो जी उसके समय के बाद, राजेंद्र कुमार जी का बेटा भी है वो. So राहुल रावेल जी बोलते हैं इस बुक में कि in Bombay, he, Raj Kapoor, loved to go to town to this place called Wayside Inns. He'd always sit at the center table there, and the cooks would all come out to greet him. They would all slap his back and say, Raj, कैसा है? बहुत टाइम के बाद आया. Seeing his chemistry with them, we learned that he had been coming there since he was a child, and the cooks were the same old guys from his childhood. Now, this restaurant had a typical British menu, the Wayside Inn, जो restaurant की बात हम कर रहे हैं. When I asked him, Raj Kapoor से जब मैं पूछा था, why that place was so dear to him, he told me, Raj Kapoor ने बोला था, you know, there is a reason why I come here so often and why I sit at this particular table and chair. This is the place where Dr. Ambedkar sat and wrote the Constitution of India. I sit here so that it can inspire me to do constructive work. So these are the words of Raj Kapoor on, on his inspiration, on how we got inspired from Dr. Ambedkar. So Dr. Ambedkar हमेशा इस वे से दिन में जाते थे while he was working on the Constitution. So I don't know if Raj Kapoor met Dr. Ambedkar during any of these occasions, but उनको पता है कि यहाँ बाबा साहब आके बैठते थे और काम करते थे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मेकिंग. सो ही सेज दैट इस जगह को यहाँ मैं बैठता हूँ और इंस्पिरेशन लेता हूँ so that I can do some constructive work. And of course, Raj Kapoor in 1959 also made a movie called as Char Dil Char Rahe, starring the terrific Meena Kumari ji, directed by Khwaja Ahmed Abbas. This movie deals about untouchability. Interestingly, this movie और सुजाता जो नूतन जी ने एक्ट किया था एक ही साल रिलीज हुआ था, but unfortunately this movie did not get that much attention. But I find this movie more engaging than Sujata. Interestingly, this movie deals about the topic of conversion, which is very, very close to Dr. Ambedkar's own mind. हो गया, sorry, finally हो गया. So another less known connection with Dr. Ambedkar had with the film industry is Kumar Sen Samarth. Remember this guy, this person. Kumar Sen's brother, M.B. Samarth, was a close friend to Dr. Ambedkar. Interestingly, M.B. Samarth जी जो है, जो बाबा साहब का बहुत बड़ा friend है, उसका elder daughter, Alaknanda ji, was a popular theatre star. In fact, she was trained at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London, and she was the first Indian actress to undertake a major classical role at London's National Theatre in 1975. उसका नाम Alaknanda ji. Whenever Dr. Ambedkar visited M.B. Samarth's home, he would play with Alaknanda ji, who was a child at the time. And I'm sure that nobody would have imagined that this child would one day become a very popular theatre star. Alaknanda ji, in fact, studied with Anthony Hopkins in the same theatre school. So, ये भी एक interesting thing है. Now, as you have seen, Barrister M.B. Samarth ji जो है, उसका brother Kumar Sen जो है, वो Dr. Ambedkar का भी friend है. Kumar Sen married the then famous Marathi actress Shobhana Samarth, who was the daughter of actress Ratan Bai. Popular actresses Nutan and Tanuja were their daughters. So consequently, Nutan's family also became good friends to Dr. Ambedkar. ये connection बहुत लोगों को पता नहीं है. Nutan ji का family बाबा साहब से बहुत close friends है. The legacy of Nutan ji is of course carried by her son Monish Balji and her granddaughter Pranutan Balji, whereas the legacy of Tanuja ji is carried by actress Kajol. As you have seen, Sujata is a movie made by Bimal Roy, deals with untouchability. Nutan ji ने ऐड किया था 59 में. मुझे उतना अच्छा नहीं लगता ये movie. So anyway, after having initiated the epoch-making conversion ceremonies at both Nagpur and Chandrapur, Dr. Ambedkar wanted to have his third conversion ceremony on December 16th at Mahalakshmi Racecourse Ground in Bombay. So this is the aerial image of Mahalakshmi Racecourse Ground in Bombay. तो जैसे हमको ऑलरेडी पता है, डॉक्टर अम्बेडकर ने 14 अक्टूबर को एक मैसिव 7 लाख लोगों के साथ कन्वर्जन हुआ था. नेक्स्ट डे चंद्रपुर में भी बहुत बड़ा कन्वर्जन सेरेमनी हुआ था. 3 to 4 लाख पीपल आए थे. सो ही वांटेड टू हैव हिज थर्ड कन्वर्जन सेरेमनी एट बॉम्बे. सो इसी प्लेस को उन्होंने सेलेक्ट किया था. December 16th को होने वाले थे. So at that time his home Rajgruha were under repair. So Kumar Sen and Shobhana Samarth, जो नूतन जी का parents है, they invited Dr. Ambedkar and Savita Ambedkar to stay at their home in Chembur for 4 to 5 days, expressing that they would be delighted to host him. So नूतन जी का parents ने invite किया था Dr. Ambedkar को कि you can come and stay at our guest house and that we would be delighted. This is the picture of their Chembur house. वो अभी नहीं है. However, before these plans could materialize, Dr. Ambedkar sadly passed away on December 6th itself. And after the death of Dr. Ambedkar, M.B. Samarth ji जो है, assumed the role of acting head in People's Education Society, and he used to visit Mahat frequently to pay honors to Dr. Ambedkar's legacy. When Samarth died on 26th August 1977, in accordance with his wishes, his family donated his entire book collection, including leather-bound volumes of Oscar Wilde's complete works, to the People's Education Society's Siddharth College. And after his body was cremated, Samarth ji ka body, the ashes were brought to Chaitya Bhumi, Dadar, where Dr. Ambedkar had been cremated and scattered into the Arabian Sea. So this is the closest bond that M.B. Samarji, Nutanji ka uncle, shared with Dr. Ambedkar. So concluding remarks, although many biographies have been written about Dr. Ambedkar, most confine themselves to documenting his monumental contributions in economics or law or constitutional jurisprudence or, and so on, while paying little or no attention to his own private life. As a result, an impression is created that he hardly had the opportunity to experience the small, mundane moments that constitute the essence of a fulfilled life. However, this perception is wrong. This is what we wanted to break. Despite an extraordinarily hectic schedule, Dr. Ambedkar did carve out time for his private passions, such as painting, music, and sculpting, revealing a man who, even amidst relentless public duty, nurtured a rich and deeply personal inner world. Because to miss the joy is to miss all. And Dr. Ambedkar had carried this extraordinary sense of joy in doing whatever he likes. Personal life में music, painting, sculpting में ही उन्होंने बहुत joy दिखाया था. In fact, there's a quote where he says, "This battle of emancipation of my people is also a matter of joy." So this is the attitude or disposition we need to have in our own life, in all the activities that we pursue, so that we might become successful. I thank Professor Scott Stroud for sharing this image. So ये annotated version है, Dr. Ambedkar खुद का book है, William James का. So he has underlined it as a student. To miss the joy is to miss all. So joy is very important for all of us. Finally, Dr. Ambedkar का यही बोलना है कि आपके पर्सनल लाइफ में आपका 3 पार्ट्स ऑफ लाइफ हो सकते हैं, पर्सनल, एकेडमिक एंड पब्लिक. पर्सनल लाइफ में उसका सजेशन यही है और उसका इंस्ट्रक्शन यही है कि बी द बेस्ट वर्जन ऑफ योरसेल्फ. Wear neat and dignified clothes, look elegant, learn languages, enrich and ennoble your life with music, art, movies, meaningful movies, literature, and so on. Be the best version of yourself. Do not have these low aims and all. He said, low aim is the crime. Have a very great aim, magnanimous aim, so that you can become a great person. And in his academic life, हमको यही सजेशन दिया है कि आप जो भी प्रोफेशन में हो, you might be a dentist, psychologist, astrophysicist, engineer, so on. Be the best in that profession. Reach the top pinnacle in your profession so that everyone will come to you for suggestions, inputs, and so on. And finally, in your public life, most importantly, cultivate this habit of fraternity or maitri, because the world is more connected than ever digitally, but it's also more divided than ever socially and economically. इतने सारे पोलराइजेशन हो गए, इतने सारे ऑटोमाइजेशन हो गया ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स कि फ्रेटर्निटी का चीज ही नहीं है. तो इसलिए इन्होंने बुद्धिज्म को अपनाया था ताकि पीपल कैन बी टॉट दैट वी शुड लव ईच अदर. Fraternity and maitri is important. So this is what he said. In all these aspects of life, let us be guided by what is called as cultivation of mind. इसका 3 aspects हमने already देखा था. So what else is the best place to cultivate our mind than to read the works of Dr. Ambedkar? So in our website, BAWS Center, which stands for Baba Saheb Ambedkar Writings and Speeches, we have arranged all the books, speeches, his writings, letters in one place in this magnificent website. Like, book kya hai? Like, Baba Saheb ne itne books likha hai. What does it mean? In these books, Dr. Ambedkar is talking to us. When you open his book, for example, Caste is in India, you read what Dr. Ambedkar was talking about caste is in India to us, the readers. So my question yahi hai, the most important hai, Dr. Ambedkar is eager to share his fascinating thoughts and inputs with you. But are you ready to listen to him? आपका बाबा साहब इतने बुक्स लिखा है, आपसे बहुत सारे इंफॉर्मेशन, इनपुट्स, इंस्ट्रक्शन शेयर करने के लिए हमेशा वो तैयार है इनकी बुक्स में. लेकिन आप रेडी है क्या अपने ओन बाबा साहब का इनपुट्स लेने के लिए? ये मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है आज. And we will do a small experiment with this website after a few minutes, and then we will explore more. So finally, Dr. Ambedkar's final message here: if there is one lesson that you must learn from my life, it is this, that I have never disowned my community. I have been proud in sharing their happiness in misery all throughout my life and will continue to do so. This is the final message of Dr. Ambedkar. So thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. I know I have taken so much of time, almost 2 hours, I guess, but I hope that I'm 100% sure that आपने बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग एंड नया इन्फॉर्मेशन को देखने का एक अपॉर्चुनिटी मिला है सब लोगों को. सो आई एम वेरी हैप्पी एंड थैंकफुल. सो आई वांटेड टू थैंक वंस अगेन टू निखिल भाई for giving me that fascinating introduction and also for all those articles that he had written. Prashant Nema bhai for giving me this opportunity so many times to share my thoughts and inputs to the audience. Dr. Ambedkar International Center, USA, for continuously pursuing this magnificent project of BAWS to disseminate the thoughts of Dr. Ambedkar to common audience and all. And finally, my friend Ritesh, who has been working for so many years to help me in all these things. Thank you so much, Ritesh bhai. Thank you so much, each and everyone. Thank you. Jai Bhim, now bada.
Thank you.